calls me googly eyes.
And you know you're beautiful, right? You know that?
Even you are beautiful. I got bullied for wearing glasses. Share if you're against bullying.
We put it out there, just took off. 3 million people have shared this post. Don't let bullies get you down. I stand with you. My whole family's wearing glasses. I wear glasses and I'm proud.
I even have the army on my team.
All the kind comments brought my child joy. I don't feel thank you is enough.
Thanks.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where the ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
I wanted to find a bank with a purpose. I wanted to find a place that would take my money and not use it to cause the financial crisis, but to fix the financial crisis and to help end income inequality.
The people that we employ are usually clients right off the streets. They don't have an account, but Amalgamated is willing to get that started for them.
Their reputation supporting the working man, I think, speaks for itself. This is a bank that cares for their customers, and I appreciate that.
We were able to access a construction loan through the bank's programs, and that loan has helped us house 28 families in the community.
Amalgamated is a bank that was started for and about working people.
Many of our customers have a deep commitment to advocating for social and economic justice. We share that commitment, and we're not afraid to stand up and say that we need to change some of the way that the country does business.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
The most important issue on this planet right now is to protect and conserve biodiversity in the world's oceans. And I don't think people realize just how intimate our connection is with the oceans themselves. Not only do they provide the very foundation of life and control our weather, but life just simply could not exist without a healthy ocean. The real problem, though, is apathy. It's all out of sight. It's all out of mind, and people don't even think about it. But it doesn't matter whether you live in Peoria or on the coast. The fact is, whatever happens in the ocean affects all life forms on the planet Earth. If the oceans die, then civilization collapses. We all die. We cannot live on this planet without the oceans. This is, in fact, not the planet Earth. It's the planet ocean, but because we're a land-dwelling species, we refer to it as Earth. But it is the planet ocean, and the oceans are the heart and the foundation of all life on the planet.
times I've been mistaken for a girl. 1. Ever since I was tall enough to reach the phone perched and mounted against my wall, I was old enough to answer it. And every time I did, I was always greeted by someone on the other end calling me ma'am. And for the longest time, I thought they were saying man because I was cool and hip, man. 2. When entering high school, I found a correlation between girls finding I was cute and long, swishy hair, so I grew my hair out like how optimists never cut their dreams down or how dreamers never trim their hopes short. But this lion's mane became and remained a gender mystery to some store owners asking my girlfriend and I, so, how are you ladies doing tonight? 3. I was always a crier, and with 3 older brothers, manlier and tougher than I, wouldn't it be strange to hear shut up or buck up? Uncomfortably familiar like loneliness, hearing stop being a girl was a terrible mantra that I just got used to, like, I will never amount to anything, or I will die alone. 4. Though very far from the truth, my mom, in her traditional ways, believes gay to be synonymous with effeminate. So wouldn't it be odd for her to question my sexuality due to the clothing I wore or how much I spent on appearances? Why don't you go do boy things? How are you going to take care of your wife? 5, when my father found out that sometimes I like looking at boys, he told my mother that he lost a son, and I can't help but think about my sister who's 6. My mother always complained about having 4 boys and no daughters. 7, my sister was born in 1991, but 8, died 3 days after her birth due to complications. 9, my mother didn't want to have any children after that, but 10, my father said he had a feeling, and I don't know what that feeling was, but I think it was 11, that he wanted to have another daughter. 12, I didn't come out the way they expected. 13, I think I was a failure before I was even conceived. 3, I was always a crier. 14, I was always so mad at myself for being so sensitive. 15, I wasn't okay to play house with the girls. 16, I was never good at cops and robbers. 17, they called roll and said Alexandria. 0, I was a disappointment before I even began. 12, I didn't come out the way they expected. 12, I didn't come out the way they expected. 12, I didn't come out the way they expected. And now, I'm at some variable of a number, wondering if it still makes a difference. My hair is shorter, my voice is a little deeper, and I still might not do things a boy does. Instead, I do things a person does.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where the ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek,
Newtown.
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
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 Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Bill Press Show. Well, hello there. It is the Bill Press Show. I am not Bill Press. My name is Peter Ogburn. Sitting in for Bill today, I will be your host, MC, star of the show. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. Got to have you on board to make today work. It's the day after primary day, so we've all got that post-election hangover, which you'd think we've gotten used to by now. I, for one, have not. Wednesday, May 11th. It's hump day, and boy, am I tired. 7 minutes past the hour. Another big win for Bernie Sanders last night in West Virginia. Hillary Clinton coming up short one more time. We're going to talk about that today, folks. I don't know. It doesn't give me the best feeling for our Democratic candidate, but we'll talk about with you. Of course, our phone number is 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. Give us a call. Hop on board. Got to have you along. So please join in that conversation. Running the board today, of course, is Jamie Benson. Good morning, Mr. Benson.
Good morning, Mr. Ogburn.
By the way, Jamie brings in his own French press to make his coffee every morning because the coffee we make here is not good enough.
Hot
Jamie.
garbage.
I don't drink coffee. I don't know how good our coffee is. I like coffee. I just don't drink it.
I drink both, to be fair.
Okay.
Because
when I used to drink our coffee, it was fine. But I gave up coffee.
I only have time to make one French press in the morning, so I got to keep it going. I drink that, or I drink Caveman coffee from our buddy Maynard.
I was about to say.
Out in New Mexico.
Our buddy Maynard, shout out Caveman Coffee, because he sent us a bounty of delicious coffee and tea, by the way, which I'm drinking. Jamie, I stole your French press to make my tea. I'm letting you know now.
As long as you're using Caveman Coffee's product.
It's the Caveman Coffee product.
Then I'm fine with
it. It's the Caveman Coffee peppermint and chamomile tea. I had a little bit of evening last night. It's like a little throat thing happening. This is perfect.
Why'd you have a little bit of evening, if you don't mind me asking, Peter?
I don't want to talk about it.
All right.
I'm going out of town today, and I was packing, and I don't know what in me, what stupid born-in thing I have that when I pack, I tend to drink. That's all.
Huh.
I drink and I pack. That's what I do.
You know, I think they say that you're not supposed to do that.
Oh, I promise that you're not supposed to do that because when I get to my final destination and I look into my bag and I go, well, why did I bring clothes for literally every season? Because I might need this. I might need this. I might need this. I'm ready for anything that comes my way. So yeah, I was just up late. That's all. Not necessarily up late, but I was up misbehaving.
Sure.
Let's just get this out of the way right now because I'm sure you're going to do it in full court. I'm sure Cyprian's got something planned. Yeah, the Spurs lost last night. No, I didn't watch the game. Okay.
Well, we know you kind of watched the game, right? Did you watch a little bit of it?
No.
You're packing?
No.
Okay.
I didn't watch any of it. I'm so done with watching the Spurs lose in the fourth quarter. Because they've won their last two games, and then, I should say, they certainly didn't win, but they've dominated their last two games, and then they just completely fall apart and get outscored by 20 points in the fourth quarter. It's insane. And I would love for LaMarcus Aldridge to make a shot that mattered. Wouldn't that be nice? I woke up early and watched some of the replays. That's all I'm saying. It's just crazy talk.
Meanwhile,
what?
I watched the Red Sox score 13 runs last night.
It's that, dude. It's not baseball season yet. It's not baseball season yet. This is. I was saying this earlier, and I said this to Jamie to his face. I never understood why people hated on Boston Sport Fan until I started working with Jamie Benson. It's like it's gotta get that Boston reference in at every turn. Spurs lost last night. NBA playoff. Red Sox won 13-5.
Shoot, I'll talk about the Boston Breakers, man, the lacrosse team. You give me some time.
I believe it. I believe that. All right, so Ray Rogers is here. She's screening your calls at 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. And, of course, Cyprian Bolding is running our video cameras. If you are watching on Free Speech TV or TawkrTV, the Roku box, however you get the show, it is because Cyprian is doing a great job. Jamie, did you do a full court, or you want to do a full court press? Let's do it. Let's do it. Hit it.
This is the Full Court Press.
Yeah, excellent segue. Just
I'm a professional.
Couple of other stories for you on this Wednesday morning. We will start with some new developments in the death of the musician Prince.
Oh, man.
Some news via the Associated Press out of Chanhassen, Minnesota. We now know that a Minnesota doctor saw Prince twice in the month before his death, on April 7th and on April 20th. April 20th, of course, was the day before he died. We also know that doctor, Michael Todd Schulenberger, prescribed medications for Prince. We don't know yet what those medications were. A law enforcement official telling the AP that investigators are looking into whether Prince died from an overdose and whether or not that doctor, Schulenberger, had been prescribing him drugs in the weeks before the death, in addition to that day before his death as well. We also know that a California addiction specialist was called by someone inside the home the day before he died, saying that they needed some help. Dr. Howard Kornfeld is out in California. He deals with this type of stuff.
I hope that we take a moment to look at this situation with Prince and not look down on him for the drug abuse, but look at it as a moment where we can learn something, right? I hope that we've evolved as a nation there, because there is something to be learned there about addiction.
I mean, this brings you eerily back to the Michael Jackson death in 2009.
Totally.
The whole situation, the compound, what.
And I don't know that we learned a whole lot from that, frankly.
No.
But I think that we as a nation, should take a look at this and really have a conversation about addiction and abuse, because it's real.
I agree. All right, let's go to the sports desk. A lot of action last night. I'm not going to start with your Spurs.
Thank you.
You already read that this morning, so I will start with this instead.
But now Kessel with a pass in front, a shot, and they score. And it's over. And Pittsburgh will advance to the Eastern Conference Finals to face Tampa Bay on a shot in tight that ends Washington's season.
I'm so sorry, Cyprian. Last night, the Washington Capitals lost in the playoffs yet again. They go down to the Pittsburgh Penguins. 4-2 is the final of the series. The Penguins will move on to the Eastern Conference Finals in the National Hockey League to face the Tampa Bay Lightning, who they are expected to defeat. Now, here's the big thing about the Capitals, right? Alexander Ovechkin, their star player, has yet to reach a conference final.
I know. Look, I got to tell you something. The Capitals are a terrible hockey team. They're a horrible hockey team. And I know people are going to come out and be like, oh, they had the best record in the NHL. Okay. And what does that get you?
I think we're only a couple of seasons away from a full-on curse.
Yeah. No, I mean, that is a cursed team.
We'll see what happens with the Nationals. We'll see what happens with the football team this fall.
I mean, I'm not optimistic about either one of those.
No.
But our best shot here as a city to win a championship was probably hockey.
100%.
And we're never going to win one.
No.
They are a terrible hockey team.
And finally,
honest question, though, really quickly.
Yes.
Would you rather have a team that is consistently the best team in the NHL and then lose in the playoffs? Or would you have one, or would you rather have one that, every now and then would show up in the playoffs?
Every now and then would have a Cinderella story?
Yeah.
Absolutely the latter.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to go through that.
You can't run around and be like, oh, Capitals best hockey team, best team in hockey. Look at their record. Okay.
It's too much stress.
Show me your championship.
There's too much stress in the former.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So this next one's out of Salem, Oregon. and we go to a Domino's pizza location. That's right.
Oh, I saw this.
Sarah Fuller, the general manager at
this.
a Salem area Domino's, told the affiliate out there that she had a regular customer named Kirk Alexander who literally would order a pizza just about every day or every other day. She noticed about 8, 9 days, actually it was a total of 11 days went by since Kirk Alexander's last order, which she said, quote, is not like him at all. She had one of her longtime delivery drivers visit Alexander. They went to his house. They saw the TV was running. No one was answering the door. Lo and behold, someone could barely hear Alexander calling for help. They called 911. Domino's Pizza literally saved this man's life.
If you think about the levels of sadness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your life was saved because your local Domino's got concerned because you hadn't ordered a pizza for the 11th straight day.
One would wonder what got him into that health scare in the first place.
I would rather be dead. Me, Peter Ogburn, I would rather be dead than to go and face my friends and family and say, yeah, I almost died, but Domino's showed up because they got worried about me because I hadn't ordered a pizza for the 11th straight day. So I'm fine. Like, I would rather be dead. Let me die. Let me have the sweet relief of death than to have to tell people that Domino's Pizza saved my life because I didn't order it for the 11th day in a row. God, can you imagine? Oh. 17 minutes past the hour. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. Okay, so here are the numbers, folks. I'm just going to give them right to you. The West Virginia primary was last night, and it was yet another loss for Hillary Clinton. She lost by 15 points. Bernie Sanders with another big win. Bernie Sanders has won 10 out of the last 15 primaries. And I know Bill is a big-time Bernie supporter. I'm not necessarily a big-time Bernie supporter. I'm not necessarily a big Hillary Clinton supporter. I really, honestly, truly will be happy with whoever comes out of this election as the candidate. Really, honestly. But there is something to be said about the fact that Hillary Clinton cannot put this thing away. She can't. And I'm not totally sure why. And I'm hoping you can help me at 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. When you look at the delegate count, all right, I'm going to do something a little controversial, and I'm going to strip away the superdelegates. All right? Because I think the superdelegate thing is kind of BS. Hillary Clinton has 1,716 delegates. Bernie Sanders has 1,430. This race is a lot closer than you have been led to believe. Now, you add in Hillary Clinton's superdelegates, she has 523. Bernie only has 39. Now, we know about superdelegates. We know that these are people who cast their vote regardless of how their state and the people that they represent vote. So Hillary had all of these superdelegates vote for her before their state ever even had a chance to vote, which I think is just garbage. I think it's bogus. So you've got a pretty close race here. And I know that there are some people who will say, oh, well, this is about where Barack Obama was in 2008 with Hillary Clinton. He hadn't put the nomination away yet, and he hadn't. He didn't until June. June is when he officially put it away. But Barack Obama sort of came on strong, had the momentum. He didn't win as many in early on the way that Bernie did. And so he sort of caught up very, very quickly and got to this point. And the other thing I will point out is the primary calendar does not look that great for Hillary Clinton moving forward. We've got Oregon coming up next week. A week from yesterday. Bernie's going to win that.
No doubt. He was there last night.
Yeah. Bernie's going to win Oregon. I mean, if there's a state that was more, and he's going to win it by a lot, by the way. You got the Virgin Islands on June 4th. You got Puerto Rico on June 5th. And then you got California on June 7th. You got California, Montana, California, Montana, New Jersey, and New Mexico coming up. Which I think a lot of those are kind of Bernie states, right? California could very well go for Bernie. That's 546 delegates, by the way.
I haven't done enough brushing up on California, though.
California's a weird state. And probably what's going to happen is it's not like a winner-take-all, right? Like, so you're going to split up a lot of delegates. So even if Bernie won by 10 points, Hillary would probably get more delegates because of the superdelegate situation. I want to be very clear, though, because I agree with what Joe Biden said yesterday. Joe Biden said he is confident that Hillary Clinton will be the nominee.
I feel confident that Hillary will be the nominee, and I feel confident she'll be the next president.
That's from Good Morning America, where he sat down. I agree with him. I'm confident Hillary Clinton will be the nominee. But my question is, why can't she make the case at this stage in the game, right? Donald Trump had 17 or 16 competitors in the GOP race. He beat all of them. It's over. It's done with. He will be the Republican nominee. Everybody's out. Hillary Clinton essentially had one opponent, Bernie Sanders. That's it. Why can't she beat him? Why can't she put it away? 15-point loss in West Virginia last night. Cover of the New York Post has a photo of Hillary dressed up like a queen, and it says, "Stop the coronation." Which the sentiment of crowning someone, the candidate, crowning someone the nominee without having a real fight it's a valid one. I think Hillary Clinton would be a great president of the United States. Don't get me wrong. I just think she's a really bad candidate. And if she can't put away Bernie Sanders or learn enough from the Bernie Sanders campaign to adjust and beat him, how does that make you feel about her chances against Donald Trump, someone who has proven himself to be an amazing campaigner? Like, he beat all those other Republicans, barely even tried.
Well, hold on, Peter.
Go ahead.
Ted Cruz says he may not be out.
Ted Cruz yesterday with the dumbest of dumb things. Play the second clip, Jamie, where he came back to Congress because someone asked him, would he consider getting back in the race?
We've suspended the campaign because I can see no viable path to victory. Of course, if that changed, we would reconsider things. But let's be clear, we're not going to win Nebraska today. There should be no mystery, no excitement in that.
Oh, it's a good point because, he was competitive last night in West Virginia. Donald Trump only beat him by 67 points. So
a lot of ground to make up.
People just aren't
fine.
ready to give up on Ted
Totally
Cruz.
fine.
Just can't give up on him. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number. Why can't Hillary Clinton put this away? That's my question to you. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill Press. Very quick break. We'll be right back.
Your place to talk about the 2016 election. This is the Bill Press Show.
Unopening body bags after Typhoon Haiyan. I can only imagine it like unearthing a scab. Zipper breaks open one by one. Mothers trying to dig through themselves an umbilical cord to lend life to a limp ghost. There is not enough relief here to hide the scent of what this child used to be. The coconut trees are not high enough to see over the inside out that was made here. Bags do not have the honor of being called burial plots. Churches ain't supposed to be mausoleums. Tacloban was morphed into ground zero. And I watch this while it snows in Madison, Wisconsin, a place where it's easier to live as a rodent than it is to be a colored person. This place drowns my people in a different way. I inhabit both places like Jigsaw Corpse, trying to find itself whole. These brown boys in Tacloban aren't my cousins, but I want to carry them to safety. These brown girls in Tacloban aren't my daughters, but I want to tell them they're still growing after this choking, but I'm still an ocean away, a language farther from root. A skin tone lighter than the sand, born there, raised here, home nowhere. To watch this storm is a sorry excuse for mourning. It is to need the sun desperately. It is to realize that your body is in one country while your grief is in another. To look at your house, walk to a river, and come back to no house is to be Filipino. To look at your motherland hurting from a TV screen is to be Filipino American. To watch my islands through the blue eyes of Anderson Cooper is the most American I have ever felt. But I still cry for them. And I still pray for them because God tried to make them Atlantis before they were ready to be a myth just yet, because rebuilding is the Filipinos' most intrinsic muscle memory, but most painful trauma, because relief is just a word whose Tagalog translation I don't even know, because this poem is all I can give for my country, bleeding in salt water. Hail Mary, full of grace. The Lord keeps trying to drown us. Hallowed be thy bodies. Thy kingdom come down in waves and winds on earth as it is destroyed. Take us this day our daily rations, and forgive those who have tried to kill us as we forgive those who have tried to kill us. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us whose skin has always meant sin now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
Is the Bill Press Show.
866-55-PRESS is our phone number. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. Why can't Hillary put it away? Luke in Elgin, Illinois. What's happening, Luke?
Hi. I have a theory why Hillary can't put it away. And it's simply because Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, if you look at their voting record, it's like over 95% the same.
Mm-hmm.
They're almost identical in terms of policy. They have very minute differences. So you can't really go on policy. In addition to that, Bernie Sanders just doesn't want to surrender for any reason ever.
I think that's a good point, Luke. We're running out of time, so I got to jump in here. But, yeah, Bernie doesn't want to surrender. Bernie shouldn't surrender, right? She hasn't locked up the nomination yet. Take this thing all the way through, and I think that is democracy at its finest. Taking your calls at 866-55-PRESS. Coming up after the break, more with me, Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press.
This is the Bill Press Show.
The most important issue on this planet right now is to protect and conserve biodiversity in the world's oceans. And I don't think people realize just how intimate our connection is with the oceans themselves. Not only do they provide the very foundation of life and control our weather, but life just simply could not exist without a healthy ocean. The real problem, though, is apathy. It's all out of sight. It's all out of mind, and people don't even think about it. But it doesn't matter whether you live in Peoria or on the coast. The fact is, whatever happens in the ocean affects all life forms on the planet Earth. If the oceans die, then civilization collapses. We all die. We cannot live on this planet without the oceans. This is, in fact, not the planet Earth. It's the planet ocean, but because we're a land-dwelling species, we refer to it as Earth. But it is the planet ocean, and the oceans are the heart and the foundation of all life on the planet.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine. Virginia Tech.
Tucson.
Aurora.
Fort Hood. Oak Creek.
Newtown.
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 How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
Enough.
Enough. Enough.
Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
Hi, everybody. 33 minutes past the hour. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. Good grief. I'm just so glad you're all here. What are you doing? You eating a donut in there?
Yeah.
Oh, right in my face. Look at you.
Sorry.
Look at you. Just stuffing your face for the donut. You know what's going to happen? One of these days, Jamie is going to get trapped here at the studio, and Dunkin' Donuts is going to come running over and be like, "Is everything okay, Mr. Benson? We haven't seen you in a couple of weeks now." He's going to be like the Domino's guy.
Careful now. I'm about to choke on the donut.
They will have to come save you. We're talking about last night's primary in West Virginia. In case you didn't stay up for it, Donald Trump won that. 76.9% for him. Ted Cruz, 9%. Some people just keeping that Cruz dream alive. Also could be realistically that this is West Virginia. People just don't have running water and electricity to actually hear that Ted Cruz had dropped out of the race.
Yikes.
What?
You're about to catch those West Virginia calls.
You ever been to West Virginia?
Yes, once in my life.
Okay. Yeah. Bernie Sanders also... What? Bernie Sanders also beating Hillary Clinton by 15 points last night. But, of course, because of the way that the superdelegates work out, they tied in delegates last night, 17-17. So, big win for Bernie, I guess, tied in delegates. And that's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles this election, which I don't necessarily agree with, but that is how it is right now. And even still, with all of the superdelegates locked and loaded in favor of Hillary Clinton, she still cannot put this away. Bernie Sanders has like 39 superdelegates. Hillary Clinton has 530 something. So at some point you have to ask yourself, what is the, or I should say this, at some point you have to ask yourself, are the superdelegates actually representing what's best and what's in the best interest of the Democratic voters? 866-55-PRESS is my phone number. Steven in Aurora, Illinois. What's up, man?
Hey, I think she didn't win because she's unprepared. Like she was unprepared for Barack Obama in 2008. She started off this race with all the superdelegates in the name, all the Democrats lined up behind her. Every night you look at MSNBC, she had a surrogate that just kept saying, wow, she's the best prepared, and how Bernie he's too old, he's unelectable, he's a socialist. She was unprepared for him, and she thought she had the money and every advantage, and she just ignored him. And last night she lost because West Virginia is dependent on coal. When she said she's going to put the coal miners and the coal industry out of business, she put her foot in her mouth and she killed her own self that way.
Well, this is just one of the running problems with Hillary Clinton is she's not a very good campaigner. She's not a very good candidate. And I'm sorry, y'all could get mad and say that this is, disrespectful to the presumptive nominee of the Democratic Party, but she is not a good campaigner. She's not. Any politician should know that when you go to a state that you're trying to win votes in and you say you're going to put a lot of their people out of work, that ain't going to play real well. Okay? Disagree if you want, but I'm right. Lloyd in Chicago. What's happening, Lloyd?
Hey, how you doing, Peter?
I'm good, man. What's your take on this?
Well, I look at it like this. You're right. You can't go to a cold state and tell people that you won't have jobs. That's crazy. But on the other hand, Peter, I have to look at the fact that I believe that if you take away the superdelegates, Hillary still has him beat. She has him beat by over 3 million votes. There is no way of him winning even without the superdelegates. It's just impossible.
I don't know that I agree with that, Lloyd. Why not? Why is that the case?
Well, because she's leading him in popular votes. She has over 3 million votes. He would have to win at least 90% of the rest of the votes all the way to the convention, which is impossible.
That's not necessarily true, by the way, because he's only about 270 delegates behind her. So if you look at a place like California, right, which has 546 delegates, you look at Oregon, which has 74 delegates, like he can make up a lot of ground pretty quickly. And of course, and by the way, Lloyd, I know, this is kind of pie in the sky stuff because this is assuming that the superdelegates don't exist, but they do. But even if they didn't exist, I still think there would be a narrow path to victory. I agree, but it's doable.
It seems like there's no path, and it's hard for Hillary to attack Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is like the opposite of a Donald Trump. He's just this electrifying person that tells everybody everything is free, and all these college children, everybody just voting, and and it's just like I can't, and I understand, what Mr. Press is, I know where he's leaning, but I can't see all of this stuff happening, and I just think that when he becomes vetted, I think that people will see things a little different.
Yeah, that's a good point, Lloyd. Again, I just want to repeat, I am confident that Hillary Clinton will be the nominee. I don't see any other way around it. So this isn't some sort of party to say that, Bernie should try and bring her down or anything like that, because I think that it will eventually just sort of fall into place where she's the nominee. But, Lloyd made an interesting point about how Hillary can't run around attacking Bernie. Oh, yes, she can. Anybody who's followed Hillary Clinton, or Bill Clinton for that matter, know that if the one thing that the Clintons can do is hit hard. Remember that photo of Barack Obama in the headdress and the native African garb from when he went to Kenya? Yeah? You know where that came from, right? Yeah, that came from Hillary Clinton. All right, you know that rumor that was being spread about how there's a tape floating around where Michelle Obama was saying Whitey, talking about Whitey being the problem? Remember that rumor? Remember that tape that never surfaced? You know where that came from? It came from Hillary Clinton. So Hillary Clinton can damn well attack just as well as anybody else in the race. Okay, And that actually leads to something else I want to talk about, is how she's going to attack Donald Trump. How do you beat Donald Trump? How do you beat Donald Trump? 866-55-PRESS. Because what's going to happen here is, and this is what I fear, is Hillary and the Democrats have this cute name, Dangerous Donald, and they call him the presumptuous nominee. You get it? Isn't that cute? Meanwhile, Donald Trump is out there talking about how she enabled her husband having an affair. He's probably going to accuse her of murder before this whole thing is over with. He is a nasty campaigner. Can Hillary punch back that way? That's what she has to do. Like, the only time that we've seen Donald Trump get rattled, really, truly rattled, was when Marco Rubio insinuated that he had a small penis.
Justified.
Right? So is that what it's going to take? Is that what we need to? Is that where we need to go?
Did you see the Benghazi ad yesterday, by the way?
Yeah, I did. You might not like it. It's brutal.
It is.
You might not agree with it, and I don't. It is brutal. And there are people out there, and I know this, and you might not believe it because you all like follow along with progressive politics. But when you look out in the real world and you look at middle America, the Benghazi thing is a big deal to them. It is. And Donald Trump is going to make her look really bad on that.
I'm surprised because it looked like he left some footage on the cutting room floor because there's actual footage of her going out on TV and not mocking the families. But
No, we will be seeing some more of that. Like, this is just his opening shot. Remember, he's running against someone who isn't even the nominee yet.
Yeah.
So, like, I would love to see Hillary Clinton get some of that, of what she tried to do to Barack Obama in 2008, try and make that happen to Donald Trump. That's what she needs to do. She needs to go completely nuclear. And we need to drop these silly names. Dangerous Donald. Dangerous Donald is what Donald Trump wants, right? Like, he wants to be called that. He wants to be called the presumptuous nominee. He loves it. It gives him this air of self-import.
Meanwhile, this was the best she could come up with yesterday in Louisville.
I think with somebody like Donald Trump, you would see a race to the bottom across our country, with working families paying the price. And I don't think that's a risk we can afford.
Okay. It's not going to win.
It's eloquent, I guess.
It's eloquent, and it appeals to people like me. She's right. To high-minded thinking people, not like me, but to other high-minded progressive voters, that makes a lot of sense. They're going to vote for her anyway. But, like, when you look at... this is, I think, emblematic of what the problem is when she gets into the general election officially. She put out this ad showing all of these voices talking about how bad Donald Trump is. Jeb Bush, Rand Paul, the other Bushes, George, all these Republicans talking about what a bad candidate he is. That's the point. That's why Republicans are voting for him, because they already hate these people. So she's making an ad for Donald Trump, essentially. Donald Trump would, if he could get away with it, he would put together an ad of all the Republicans saying how much they hate him, because he's not running to get their votes or the people who support them. So you've got to run a smarter campaign. That's what I'm trying to get at. 43 minutes past the hour. Let's talk some more politics and see what's going on at the White House with our good friend David Jackson. Coming up after this quick break. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill Press. Let's take a very quick break and come back, shall we?
Follow us on Twitter @BP Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
For my 6th birthday, my grandpa gave me a Rubik's Cube. I'll always be able to remember its edges, hold it in my hands, heft the weight of an overwhelming problem. I remember him telling me about it. How Rubik's Cube has 43 quintillion, 252 quadrillion, 3 trillion, 274 billion, 489 million, 856,000 possibilities. He told me it can be really confusing sometimes. But to look at the center squares as a reminder of what color each side should be. Shift. We're celebrating his 50th wedding anniversary. He and Grandma are dancing a dance that only fragile legs and wrinkled hands know how to. That type of happiness took him 70 years to earn. The white side of the cube is solved. Shift. He tells me about how he met Grandma. His college friends had a sunset picnic. She was there, as beautiful as an unsolved puzzle. She was a red-headed scramble on an orange tile sky. Shift. The walls of the hospital are blue. The nurses explain that his memories had become jumbled. Strangers in family portraits, pictures with mismatched faces. Alzheimer's has made his mind into a Rubik's Cube. Shift. He's a highway patrolman. His car is white. No, it's blue. He worked there for 30 years. Some nights he still does. Time is a complicated algorithm. Shift. The pills he holds are yellow and red and green. The weight of their color causes his hand to drop. I try to shift his tiles back into place, but people don't have center squares. His mind is a hospital bed divided by 0. Shift. My sister's wedding is white, but he doesn't know why. Shift. World War II is every color. The South Pacific is blue. The islands are green. There is so much red. Shift. Grandpa, table, cube, name, scramble, California, guitar, grapefruit highway, wedding bell, war, stick shift rifles, South Pacific mirrors. Shift, 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 shift. The temperature of his hands is blue. Death is colorless. I will always remember his edges. Hold him in my hands, heft the weight of an overwhelming problem. I was unable to attend his funeral. I never found out the algorithm to solve him. A Rubik's Cube has over 43 quintillion possibilities. A casket only has one.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. 47 minutes past the hour, Wednesday, May 11th. So glad you are able to join us. Bill is out today. He'll be back tomorrow, so you're stuck with me. But it's Wednesday, so I am always happy to talk to our good friend, White House correspondent for USA Today, David Jackson. You can follow him on Twitter at DJUSA Today and read his fine work at usatoday.com. David, good morning. How you doing, man?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. I have to tell you, by the way, I don't want to turn this into like a running thing, but we went to Lincoln Waffle Shop the other day.
Beautiful.
Had ourselves a waffle. We went and saw that Wiener documentary at E Street Cinema, the one on Anthony Weiner.
Oh, yeah. Did you like that?
It was great. We grabbed some waffles before we went in, man.
Oh, that's great. I've heard good things about the movie, too, so I think I'll see it myself.
It's amazing. You really should. I mean, anybody who follows politics at all would just love it.
Right.
There are some of the most intimate moments I have ever seen in a documentary in that movie. It is.
And Huma's in it, too. So
she's in it a lot. There are scenes where it's Anthony Weiner and Huma in the room having very serious discussions, and the camera's there.
Right. It's very surprising given her role in the Clinton campaign, but, you know.
Yeah. It's pretty weird to see.
Yeah.
Hey, so another win for Bernie Sanders last night, David.
I tell you.
Does he show any sign of stopping?
No, and I guess there's no reason to. He may win every contest this month, but, and it's very interesting because it's an odd thing because a lot of people think Clinton has the nomination in hand, but a lot of Bernie supporters are so determined they want to go out, turn out in the polls. I think they're a lot more motivated to vote than the Clinton people are, so I think that's helping Bernie as well. And, there's some evidence that the prolonged competition is hurting Clinton because Trump's numbers are moving up in a lot of polls. And some of the pollsters I talked to believe it's because she's still suffering from the inter-party divisions.
I mean, I think that the idea that Bernie is hurting Hillary, I don't know that I necessarily buy that. I think Hillary is hurting Hillary. I just don't think Hillary is a very good campaigner.
Right. But if she goes on and wins the nomination, and presumably Sanders will endorse her, might that help her a little bit, you think, in the numbers? Or
I think so. And I think that's going to happen. Bill's a big Bernie guy, right? I'm not quite on board as much as he is. But, one of the things he wants to see is for Bernie to take this all the way to the convention and not necessarily fight it, but to like there and then make his stand and say, I am endorsing her, and that will sort of have the highest, biggest impact.
That's true, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen, because I think he is going to go all the way to the convention. He's going to get a good speaking slot, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Cleveland might be a different story.
Oh, it will definitely be a different story, my friend.
Nothing's going to stop Trump at this point. I mean, he's going to be the guy. And so my thing this whole time is Donald Trump has actually gotten to a point where he's bigger than the Republican Party. Paul Ryan might not be the co-chair of the convention. That's fine with Trump. I don't think he cares.
No, and he wants to change the convention, turn it into a Broadway show, if you will. He wants to provide entertainment at the convention. It's going to be a very different kind of convention and a very different kind of campaign, because I was just reading the New York Times' a story today how Trump feels he has a mandate to keep being the way he's being. So I don't think he's going to change his style all that much when the fall campaign rolls around.
I don't either. Not even a little bit. No. I can't wait for both of those conventions. They're coming up on us pretty quickly. David, I want to ask you about this something else that came across our desk yesterday. Barack Obama, president, is going to take a little trip. Not only is he going to Vietnam, but he's going to Japan.
Right, and he's going to Japan first for a G7 meeting, and then he's going to take a little side trip to Hiroshima.
Yeah.
Something he's wanted to do for a long, long time.
What should we expect to see there?
Well, Hiroshima's a big park dedicated to the atomic bombing of 1945, so he'll tour that. He'll probably tour the museum, and he's going to give remarks. Now, whether it's a full-blown speech or just remarks, impromptu, we don't know. They're still trying to put it together because it was a last-minute thing. The White House sends out advance teams on this trip, and the advance team that went to Japan and Vietnam did not go to Hiroshima. So this is, in some ways, it's kind of a last-minute thing putting this together. But it's a visit he's long wanted to do. He's made reduction of nuclear weapons a big theme of his presidency, and Hiroshima gives him a perfect opportunity to talk about that. The one thing he won't do, even though it's going to get a lot of attention, he will not apologize for the U.S.
That's what I wanted to get to, because this has the scent of the apology tour that he was accused of making earlier in his presidency.
Exactly. Well, I'm sure Trump and a lot of the Republicans will accuse him of apologizing, but I don't think he's going to do that. I'll be curious to see what wording he uses when he discusses the attacks. That will be very interesting. Another thing, Peter, about this is it's scheduled for May 27th in Japan. Now, that means he'll make these remarks either late Thursday night or early Thursday or Friday morning before Memorial Day weekend here in the United States. So, in some ways, they're kind of downplaying his remarks at Hiroshima, but they'll still get a lot of attention.
That's pretty funny, actually.
The timing's very interesting, and they've been very squirrely about exactly how long he's going to speak and what kind of form these remarks will take, but obviously we'll see eventually.
While we're talking White House, Joe Biden yesterday said that he is confident that Hillary Clinton will be the nominee. The White House, does Barack Obama have his back on that?
Oh, I think so, too. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was on ABC. I think Joe knew going in he was going to do that. Slowly but surely, I think you're going to see more and more administration officials endorse Clinton, ending with the president himself, although his timing on that, I don't know, it's going to be it's hard to assess given the fact that, as we mentioned, Bernie keeps winning all these contests, and he's liable to keep winning for another couple of weeks at least.
Yeah, I mean, the calendar ahead looks pretty good for Bernie.
Right, very much so. I guess maybe they're thinking she'll win in California, but I don't know. I think they are looking for a good timing in which President Obama himself would make the endorsement, but
I can tell you one thing.
Knows when that might be.
I can tell you one thing I'm excited to see, whether it's Hillary or Bernie, is to see Barack Obama get out on the campaign trail and campaign against Donald Trump.
Oh, God, yes. Everyone's looking forward to that.
Yeah, because, I mean, he takes that whole thing personally. So.
Oh, he definitely does. And you'll definitely see him. In fact, you'll see him out on the trail more than you would have otherwise.
David Jackson from USA Today, White House correspondent. Our friend joins us every Wednesday. Follow him on Twitter at DJUSA Today and read his work at usatoday.com. Thank you, David. I appreciate it, buddy.
Right. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate it.
Next week. All right. Quick break. We'll be right back.
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at Facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
Every day when I was 5, my older sister would play teacher. Her students were me, my stuffed rabbit, and an American Girl doll. She'd line us up at the end of the bed and teach us whatever she'd learned in school that day. Now she teaches ESL at an elementary school in Boston, and every week she tells me stories about her students. Anna does not know how to read in Spanish, much less English, but she still wants to be a writer when she grows up. Juan chooses to stay inside and study at recess so that one day he'll be able to teach his own brother. These kids are good organs in a sick body. In 2001, No Child Left Behind gutted bilingual education. Students who have been in the country for 1 year are now expected to perform at grade level on standardized English tests. My sister is not allowed to instruct them in Spanish. If the kids don't jump high enough, the school loses money. Improving a school by picking its pockets is like tuning a guitar by ripping off the strings. Learning to read in a new language before you can even read in your own is like learning to walk while a pit bull is chasing you. Like learning to sing with the conductor's fist down your throat. This year for my sister's birthday, I got books for her students. A poem on one page in Spanish, the next in English. She is not allowed to help them read the first. Their heritage is a banned book. Learning to read in a new language when you can't even read in your own is like trying to heal a burn victim by drowning them. We are telling these children who have spent their whole lives in the deep end that they'll learn how to swim if they just float out a little farther. In the 1980s, American slaughterhouses began building corrals in curves so no animals could see the blood at the end of the tracks. This is how we kept them moving forward. In 2001, we began building the hallways of our schools in curves. This is how we keep them moving forward. You never learn, you fail the test. You never learn, you fail the test. You never learn, you drop out. I know. I am lucky enough to be one of the winners of this game. I was handed a head start and a rule book in my own tongue, but the winners of a rigged game should not get to write the rules. On the television, some senator preaches that throwing money at an urban school is like feeding caviar to your dog. They just won't know how to appreciate it. After all, if these parents can't take care of their own children, why should we? Well, tell that to Anna, who has my sister translate newsletters aloud to her father because he too was never taught how to read. Tell that to Juan, whose mother and baby brother are still in Guatemala, whose father works 3 jobs. My sister tells me school is the most stable place in these kids' lives. She has been a teacher since she was smaller than they are. But since when does being a teacher mean having to swear not to help? Since when does being a teacher mean having your hands tied while the schoolhouse burns to the ground? We are leading these children along a track built in circles as their lungs fill with smoke, telling them it is their fault. They can't find a way out.
Dylan Garrity from Slam MN.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn sitting in for Bill Press today. Very, very quick segment here. But, we talk a lot about restaurant stuff here on the show. And the whole no tipping policy, right? Like people are more and more restaurants are going down the route of no tipping. Joe's Crab Shack, which is a terrible restaurant, by the way. But they actually jumped on board with this no tipping thing. And they tried it a little bit last year. It turns out the experiment has not been well received, and Joe's Crab Shack is about to pull the plug. They said that their attendance, their sales have dropped by like 15% because they have a no tipping policy. And so they're getting ready to just say, you know what, we tried it and it failed. So I hope that's not the case in all the restaurants that are trying. I'd like to see that catch on, but we'll cover it here.
This is the Bill Press Show.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right, guys, I want to take the last part of the day to change our focus and talk a little bit about water. There's rivers, there's lakes, there's huge oceans. You get thirsty, you just go and you get some water, right? We rely on rain for our water. We even rely on snow. But what if it doesn't rain? What if it doesn't snow? We have to get the word out about water conservation. I want you to tell your parents, your friends, your neighbors, how important it is to save water. It's up to you guys to save the planet. All right? What if it doesn't rain? What if it doesn't snow? We have to get the word out about water conservation. It's up to you guys to save the planet.
Hi, I'm Mark LaFleur, and I produced the short film you just watched called Aquaforce. California is experiencing one of the worst droughts it's ever had, and now, more than ever, it's important for everyone to do their part to help conserve water. The reason I made this film is because I wanted to make something fun and informative that would get people talking about the California drought. Obviously, this is an important issue because we have a limited amount of clean drinking water. I think it was very important to let people know, especially young people, that this is an important resource, maybe our most important resource, and it's something that we can't take for granted and we certainly can't waste. I really wanted this to be something that children would respond to. The kind of thing that any kid anywhere in the world, no matter what language they speak, could understand the story and be entertained by it and leave it knowing that this is something important, that if they didn't already know about this, that it's now going to be a part of the way that they think about water, the way that they live life, and that it's something that they'll share with their friends. The fact that they watch this video once or twice and they immediately understand that water is important, that's it. That was the whole point of this thing, to get it into the conversation, to make it something that kids are thinking about, talking about, that they're aware of, and that they know is important. This project was self-funded, so we relied on the support of our community to make it happen. It was pretty amazing to just have our neighbors, our friends, and our coworkers come together and volunteer their time and their homes and their kids to make this thing happen. Thanks for checking out the video. Keep the Aquaforce going, and thanks for watching Free Speech TV.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today, 6 minutes past the hour on this Wednesday, May 11th. It's Hump Day, and boy, am I tired. Running the board today is Jamie Benson. Hello, Jamie.
Good morning, Peter.
Screening your calls at 866-55-PRESS is Ray Rogers, and keeping us on the video is Cyprian Bolding. You can watch us on Free Speech TV or on YouTube at youtube.com/TawkrTV, TawkrTV. We also have the Roku box. You can watch us on that. You can find us anywhere you want to find us. We're everywhere. And so I am filling in for Bill today, and I need a little help, so I brought in the one they call Vasilagambros.
Hello.
Matt Vasilagambros, staff correspondent at The Atlantic. Follow him on Twitter at MattVAS, and read his good work at theatlantic.com. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. So when I'm hosting, what I like to do is bring in good, smart people to sort of surround an empty, vacuous hole, not unlike a donut.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Which we have your donuts that you were promised, by the way.
Yeah, I was used to the lie, and I didn't even get one
Come
of
on,
those
Jamie.
donuts.
Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Jamie tells me yesterday, we're going to talk about this. Jamie tells me yesterday, hey, we got Matt to come in for the early slot, but we promised him Dunkin' Donuts, so we have to get some Dunkin' Donuts. Were you a part of that conversation?
No. They're like, let's use the fat guy to get the donuts.
Jamie, would you like to explain yourself?
I just really wanted donuts.
Look, I'll give you a very valuable piece of advice. You lie to your wife, you don't lie to your friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right?
Thanks,
Don't
Peter.
lie to me.
Yeah.
Don't lie
I'll be sure
to
to bring
me.
that up with Lucinda the next
Yeah,
time I
don't
see
lie
her.
to me about the donuts.
So, yeah, I was lied to. I didn't get a donut because I ate breakfast.
Of course.
And so I'm not going to eat another donut.
Hello, Matt. There's such a thing called second breakfast. So please help
Maybe for
yourself on the way out.
11Cs. Or,
Do the donuts taste good, Jamie?
They taste delicious.
Ugh, that actually makes me sad. I was hoping they were stale, bad donuts that you got. And your coffee, you're swilling down over there. Oh, boy.
He sounds like. Have you ever had a conversation with Dunkin' Donuts with your friends from Massachusetts?
Let me tell you.
It is.
I've already had this conversation this morning about
Matt,
Jamie.
Peter and I work together. It's a normal
I just say,
conversation.
I never understood why people hated Boston sports teams, and still I started working with Jamie.
Yeah.
And it's like that whole thing of like, no matter what you're talking about, they got a crowbar in Duncan, or they got a crowbar in the Sox.
Yeah. It's like someone from Arkansas being like super into Walmart. It's like your product isn't that great.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. What are we talking about here?
Come on, guys. That's not an equivalent.
It's pretty much.
You are the Walmart
Pretty
of
much.
donuts.
And I actually tweeted about this the other day. I've had like all these people in my life tell me like, oh, you got to go to Wawa. Wawa is just the greatest thing ever. You go to Wawa, it's a gas station, guys. It's literally, it's a gas station.
You know what's better than Wawa?
What?
Sheets.
It's also just a gas station. Like, they would have this fight between Wawa and Sheetz, and you go to both, it's the same thing. It's a GD gas station.
With a sandwich line, to be
With
fair.
a sandwich line.
Yeah.
You know how hungry I would have to be to eat a sandwich from a gas station? hungry enough to eat a sandwich from a gas station. Like, it's not going to happen.
I haven't eaten a sandwich at a gas station or dozens.
I definitely haven't done that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's better than the Ohio Turnpike, and I've done that trip.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, 10 minutes past the hour. We're going to talk to Matt Vasilagambros about many, many things, including who you will not believe who the next president of the Philippines will be. Matt's got that story coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Just a couple of other stories for you on this Wednesday morning. We will be talking about the Philippines with Matt, but first let's talk about Brazil. Very good chance that their president, Dilma Rousseff, will indeed be impeached.
Oh, man.
She has a couple of allegations against her, mainly centering around breaking fiscal rules in her handling of the federal budget in order to hide deficits and bolster up a government that's not doing so well. Here's what needs to happen. If a simple majority of the Senate's 81 members down in Brazil vote to take up that measure of impeachment, she will be suspended from office while a trial will be conducted. 180 days, the vice president will take over. Now, how likely is this to happen?
That's actually interesting the way they do that. Like, she'll be suspended from office while they have the trial? That's kind of neat.
The reason why we think this is actually going to happen is Brazilian newspapers took a poll of senators and found that around 50, which is much more than necessary, plan to vote for the trial.
Oh, wow.
So continue to follow that developing story down in Brazil. Hey, so I think we read this, must have been last year that we read this story, but Peter, I definitely remember you bringing this up during the Full Court Press. Kind bars, right? Granola-y, whatever, protein bars. We've all had them before.
That's the problem. They don't know what to call them.
Exactly. So the FDA, back in March of 2015, sent a letter to Kind saying that they need to take the word healthy off of their packaging because you can't really call Kind bars healthy.
Some people think they're so healthy. Some people think that these are like so great to eat.
These are the Mean Girl bars that they're eating.
Yeah, the Mean Girl bars.
Yeah.
Yes, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
The FDA announcing yesterday that they're reversing their ruling and Kind can put the word healthy back on their packaging.
Did Kind change? Or did they just change? Do they have a change of heart?
Literally,
because Kind bars are not that healthy, guys.
Literally the same thing, but the FDA points likely to the fact that they're low in sugar, despite being high in levels of unsaturated fat.
So it says not Snickers on the bar.
Right. Okay. It's probably the best way to put it. So good. Congratulations.
That's all right. That's fine. I still, you shouldn't eat that as like a meal replacement bar and be like, oh well, I'm living healthy. Because those things really aren't that good for you. It's a snack.
And finally, Stephen Curry was officially announced
this guy's unbelievable.
As the most valuable player in the National Basketball League yesterday. Second year in a row, and making history in the fact that he is the first unanimous MVP in NBA League history.
I can't believe he's the first unanimous.
LeBron and Shaq missed it by one vote.
Isn't that crazy?
Who's the guy who voted against them?
Right.
Yeah.
Or like Jordan. Jordan never got a unanimous. But Sip and I were having this conversation. Like, Jordan played in an era where there were like
unbelievable guys,
20 guys, right, that were just amazing.
Even Scottie Pippen could have done that.
Yeah, totally.
Peter, your buddy Kawhi Leonard of the San Antonio Spurs edged LeBron James for second place on the list.
Oh, did he really?
He had 54 second place votes. LeBron James tallying 40 second place votes. Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Draymond Green, Damian Lillard, James Harden, and Kyle Lowry all registering somewhere between 1 through 6 votes.
Second place should have been Russell Westbrook, by the way.
Yes, Russell Westbrook was out of his mind.
And I hate Russell Westbrook, and I hate the Thunder, and I hope that they lose to the Spurs.
Those are strong opinions.
I know. I'm a big Spurs guy,
okay.
and Westbrook really lit it up on the Spurs.
Hey, one final thing. Hey, Cyprian, did you see Riley Curry at the press conference yesterday?
Yeah, how about Riley Curry? She's the best. Cyprian has a whole... Yeah, did you see that? Cyprian hates Riley Curry, and I can't figure it out, but he hates Riley Curry.
She's a little girl.
She's the most adorable little girl.
Oh my God, I think kids get a pass. Well,
yeah, right?
Some kids get a pass. From behind the closed door.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Jamie. Okay, well, we tease the next president of the Philippines. That is the title of your story at theatlantic.com. Who is this guy?
Rodrigo Duterte.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this guy is the mayor of a southern city. It's the fourth largest city of the Philippines. And basically, when he came into power, he's been elected 7 times as mayor, serving 22 years. When he came into power, they were calling his city and the island that it's on the Nicaragua of the Philippines. It was so dangerous. It was communist rebels against state troops. I mean, it was very violent. People were getting abducted. It was the highest crime rates, one of the highest in the world. So what he decided to do was a no-nonsense judicial system, which means getting rid of the judicial system. And he approved extrajudicial gangs to snatch up criminals and kill them on the spot, which included...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well...
Yeah, which included drug dealers and rice smugglers and street children. Ended up killing thousands over the years. And guess what? His city is one of the safest in the country, if not the world. And he put safest in quotation marks.
Sure.
So this guy ran...
Extrajudicial, by the way, is a kind of a terrifying term if you think about
basically,
it.
guys riding on motorcycles and snatching you up and killing you on the spot. And so basically...
Death squads.
Yeah, death squads. It is. And...
Oh, my God.
So he ran his campaign on law and order, and this is what he wants to do. In the first 6 months, he wants to get rid of criminality in the entire country. And he's going to do that by killing up to 100,000 criminals.
Oh my God!
Yeah. So he's
Is he?
So Rodrigo Duterte.
Oh my God!
Remember that name because he is the next dictator of the Philippines.
He's gonna win, right? I mean, that's...
he won.
He's won.
He won.
Good God!
He won, and he said that if Congress goes against him, he's going to dissolve Congress.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, here, like all the fears of Donald Trump becoming president, I think are well founded. I think we should all be terrified of that. But at the same time, I think that if he was ever to become president, he would find out the real power that a president has. And it's not that much when you have to work with Congress, right?
Totally. People are calling
So is someone going to keep this guy in check?
No. But that's the thing. So people have been calling this guy the Donald Trump of the Philippines because he's also made fun of women for getting raped, and he's a womanizer and he kisses women on the trail. I mean, he's not a great dude. But he's not Donald Trump, so I think that's kind of an unfair. That's kind of an unfair comparison. I am coming to Donald Trump's defense right now, which makes me, not feel great.
Say all these things about Donald Trump. He's not rounded up and killed thousands of people.
Right, exactly.
With death squads.
And so,
Jesus.
So I mean, if we want to even get into the kinds of things he's talked about.
No, I do. I definitely do.
Right. So basically, so in 1988 or something like 89, there was an Australian missionary this woman who was abducted and she was killed and raped in a jail in his hometown. And he was on the campaign trail a couple weeks ago and said, why did they gang rape her? I should have been first. The mayor should have gotten prima nocta or whatever.
Oh my God.
And he says this on the campaign trail. Then,
how is he getting votes? Why would people vote for that?
Because he says it like it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the mentality is, and maybe people just really like this law and order thing. The Pope came into town and it caused a traffic jam, so he called the Pope a son of a bitch.
Again,
right?
Not that much different than the fight that Donald Trump had with the Pope.
Right.
Do you think people like him or are afraid of him?
Maybe he has that that dictator quality or whatever.
It's a fine line.
Yeah, but the Philippines just had a dictator overthrown in 1986. It hasn't been that long.
Right.
And they fought so hard to get that. Anyways, so he says he's going to get rid of Congress if they go against him. But 100,000 people in his first 6 months. And this is the guy that the Philippines just elected as their next president.
He talks about dissolving Congress.
And I think I'm misusing dissolve. Dissolve, in other countries, are like,
do you mean kill them?
We're just gonna.
He's going to kill Congress.
Dissolve in other countries, we're gonna vote again, right?
Okay.
This is I'm misused. He says get rid of Congress. It is not a body that exists anymore if they go against him.
Can he do that?
I don't know if someone has the military.
I was gonna say. I mean, it's not like there are a lot of boundaries that this guy respects.
Yeah. So Rodrigo. But
that is terrifying.
I just feel like the idea of death squads is the most frightening thing. I mean, Amnesty International and the Human Rights Watch and all these people have been talking about this guy for years, And, all the candidates, like the hand-picked candidate by the current president, because presidents only get one 6-year term to be president. So, the last guy had hand-picked someone else. There's just a bunch of people who could have been the Jeb Bushes of the Philippines.
The Never Rodrigo movement.
Yeah, the Never Rodrigo. Yeah. The hashtag really didn't pick up.
Pardon my ignorance, but what is our relationship with the Philippines these days?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, we are their oldest ally. Ever since helping them with their revolution against Spain, and then they were a colony for a while, and then in 1946 they declared independence from us and got full autonomy. But their government is based off of ours. Their constitution is just like a word for word off of us. Now, he is a tough talker, and because our ambassador talked against him because of his comments on the gang rape, he says that threatens our relationship. Also on China, the Philippines is with that whole South China Sea thing.
Yeah.
He says that he's going to take a jet ski out to the disputed islands and face the Chinese off himself. So it's fine. He also killed one of his or he shot one of his college friends because he talked against him. So. This guy says he's killed multiple people in the last few months, personally.
On the campaign trail.
On the campaign trail. So if you're thinking about like a guy who actually does what he says, he
delivers.
He delivers, yeah.
What's our relationship going to be with the Philippines now? I mean, are we? I don't see how that exists.
Yeah, but think about, and this is a good segue, because think about the Donald Trump meeting this Filipino president. And then maybe Donald Trump meeting the London mayor.
The London mayor, yeah. I want to talk about that. You're another piece that we brought you in to talk about, the new mayor of London, who does not have roaming death squads. We're going to talk about him after we take a quick break. We're here with Matt Vassal-Legambros. He's the staff correspondent at The Atlantic. Follow him on Twitter at MattVas, V-A-S, and read his good work at TheAtlantic.com. We'll be right back.
Connect with The Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is The Bill Press Show.
The most important issue on this planet right now is to protect and conserve biodiversity in the world's oceans. And I don't think people realize just how intimate our connection is with the oceans themselves. Not only do they provide the very foundation of life and control our weather, but life just simply could not exist without a healthy ocean. The real problem, though, is apathy. It's all out of sight. It's all out of mind, and people don't even think about it. But it doesn't matter whether you live in Peoria or on the coast. The fact is, whatever happens in the ocean affects all life forms on the planet Earth. If the oceans die, then civilization collapses. We all die. We cannot live on this planet without the oceans. This is, in fact, not the planet Earth. It's the planet ocean, but because we're a land-dwelling species, we refer to it as Earth. But it is the planet ocean, and the oceans are the heart and the foundation of all life on the planet.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek, Newtown,
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
Enough.
Enough. Enough.
Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act. Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today, 26 minutes past the hour with staff correspondent at The Atlantic, Matt Vassal-Lagambros in studio. Matt, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
You had a story here about London's new mayor. Tell us about him. Who is he?
Right. So Mayor Khan, his parents are Pakistani immigrants. He was born in London, but he is the first Muslim mayor of a Western capital city. I know.
Oh my God.
So at any rate, so Donald Trump was asked by the New York Times whether he would be allowed to enter the United States because of President Trump's total and complete ban on foreign Muslims.
Yeah, that's right.
And he says there are exceptions.
Oh, boy.
So this is the first step in President Trump, trying to become more presidential. And so anyways, when
I love that this is him softening.
Yeah. So when the mayor was asked, how he felt about the exception, he went off. Basically called Donald Trump ignorant, saying that everything he believes in goes against his friends, goes against our ideals, and probably would harm the relationship between the two countries. And
our oldest ally, our oldest friend,
yes,
that special relationship.
The special
and all that.
relationship,
Yeah.
Winston Churchill rolling in his grave,
yeah, right.
et cetera. But I think that's so interesting because when you start to think about, there are a lot of world leaders who are Muslim.
Sure.
So then what's the deal? Where do you draw that line?
Right. Who are the exceptions?
Do you ban athletes, who are Muslim? I mean, there's just so many discussions here. And I think the London mayor is the first really prominent one that we've talked about in terms of, being faced with the reality of a President Trump and what a full and complete ban actually means.
God, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that makes this country so great is that we get to bring all these people in. One of the other things that makes this country so great is that we get to name beers after it.
We do.
Budweiser is changing the name of their beer to America. We got about 45 seconds before we go to break.
I was going to say, if a multinational company based in Belgium can rename its beer America, then anything is possible.
Exactly. Anything is possible.
This is why my dad came to this country. this is the American dream.
Yes, exactly.
This is the American dream, you know. And so I just think it's a beautiful thing. And you can trademark America.
Yeah, right?
What are you going to do? Trademark what are you going to do? I don't
Everybody
know.
could just call it America. Their product is now America.
It is
no
America.
longer what it is.
Yeah, it's also baseball, whatever.
That's right. Matt Vassal-Lagambros from The Atlantic, thank you so much for coming in, man. I
Thanks,
appreciate
guys.
it.
It's always good.
Follow his good work at theatlantic.com and follow him on Twitter at MattVass, V-A-S. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press. Very quick break. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
I have run these canyons
for 6 million years. I have traveled from the Rocky Mountains to the deserts, through scorching heat and freezing cold, from the land of the dinosaurs to fields of food.
I lend my hand to 7 states, 2 countries, 9 national parks,
and 36 million people across an arid West.
I am not the strongest or the largest, but I am the hardest working.
People love me.
My playfulness,
My beauty.
my power.
My life. But I don't think I can offer any more.
I am tired.
I am tired,
tapped,
and tied. Of the hundreds of major rivers in the world, I am one of the few who no longer kisses the sea.
Battles to harness my soul have been won and lost. Use me wisely, and I will sustain you.
Use me like you have, and I will break. My name
is
Red. The Grand River Red. The American Nile.
The Canyon Maker. I am the Colorado River.
And I am the most endangered river in America.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
Yes, it is The Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press all day long on a Wednesday, May 11th. We're halfway through the show with the halfway point. We brought in Elena Schneider to come in with us, campaign reporter for Politico. You can follow her work at EC_Schneider and read her good work at Politico.com. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
We always love having you in studio. You always bring so many great smart takes.
I appreciate that.
We like the smart takes here.
As opposed to the hot ones.
We don't like the hot takes. We don't like the take quake. You know, like the hot takes we leave off the air. The smart takes we leave for you, Elena Schneider.
Appreciate it.
Your piece here that I'm reading in my hot little hands right now, North Carolina Republicans brace for bathroom law blowback.
Mm-hmm.
You spent some time in North Carolina.
I did,
You were of North Carolina.
I am. Winston-Salem native.
What I guess, I mean, there's so many ways to kind of dissect this whole bathroom law that's going on in North Carolina. But to me, I think one of the most interesting things is like how people are going to either run to it or from it as Republicans. And that's what you sort of take a look at. So how's that playing out?
Good question. So there are a lot of things that are happening with this. So I spent like 2 or 3 days just hanging out with legislators in the state capitol talking about how this came to be and how they felt about it now that they had sort of seen what it had wrought. And there's a really stark urban-rural divide in this debate. And what people sort of sometimes forget is that 11 Democrats in the state house voted for this. And they're all from rural districts.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. And so this very much breaks down, even though that's not quite how Democrats would want to paint it and not quite how Republicans would want to paint it.
Sure.
It's really, it relates to where this works as far as the constituents they're representing. And it breaks down urban versus rural. And those urban Republicans are the ones who are pretty openly talking about how this is going to be sort of a death knell for them come November, because they know, and, you know, Charlie Jeter, who's the conference leader, sees the polling that says that urban and suburban people think this is, you know, unreasonable and discrimination, and the rurals think it's great.
This is one of the things that people who haven't spent a lot of time in the South don't totally understand. I grew up in South Carolina. I've spent some time in North Carolina too. The whole Southern thing is such a complicated dynamic, right? Because there are places that sort of dot the South that are sort of the best of the New South and the best of the Old South, and a lot of the Old South stuff got left behind. But there are people now in 2016 who are still very much living like it's 1940 in the South. And so, like, they still have a problem with, you know, like African Americans, much less, in their words, you know, men who dress up as women. Right? And so that, I think, is sort of where you draw the line over who gets it and who doesn't get it, because Donald Trump, of all people, giving a fairly nuanced answer about this, right? Seemed to be like not really taking a hardline stance. And Ted Cruz literally was just saying men are dressing up as women to go and prey on our children in bathrooms.
Exactly. It was actually a fascinating reaction, especially being there at the state convention and everyone sort of urging delegates there on Saturday to support Donald Trump. And it's like, but then they're also standing up for, you know, giving a standing ovation to this bathroom situation where Trump has very explicitly said, you know, this is, North Carolina's paying a big price for this. And openly said, you know, Caitlyn Jenner can use whatever bathroom she wants to in the Trump Hotel. And that's definitely something that some Southern, you know, rural people are very uncomfortable with. And I don't know how, I mean, obviously that's why most of them support Cruz. But who knows whether or not that's going to make them feel differently about turning out for Trump. I think that's still up to sort of to be seen.
You talked about the loss that North Carolina is seeing, because they are going to lose some business. They've already lost some in a high-profile way. But one of the things we talked about earlier is, like, it's not just these big companies like PayPal and all of that are going to leave or not bring business there. But, you know, you have a lot of people who have conferences and getaways and corporate conventions and things like that.
NCAA championships.
Exactly. Yeah. And they're just not going to show up there. And so when we look at the kind of loss that North Carolina is expecting or already has seen, like, what are the numbers? I mean, do we know, like, how much and how big this is going to play into all that?
I think there definitely been estimates, and obviously Democrats have a, you know, maybe a larger number than others, but it's in the millions. And I think the other big, you know, factor in all of this is on Monday, or last week, and then continued on into, you know, Monday, was that the Obama administration is getting involved and is suing the state of North Carolina to repeal this, and the state of North Carolina is suing back, is countersuing. And the Obama administration's bargaining chip in all of this is Title IX funding, and you know, saying that it violates the Civil Rights Act, and therefore they can withhold education funding, and that's $4 billion worth. So if you want a number, that's one.
That I thought was a very interesting shift in this conversation, because I know that a lot of people have been saying, well, it's discrimination, but not a lot of people on a big stage anyway had sort of made the connection between Jim Crow laws and how we treated African Americans to how we are now treating the LGBT community. And I thought that was really powerful, but also really telling about how they're going to fight this.
Yes, definitely.
So when we look at the South, right, which is where these type of bathroom laws are sort of sweeping, what's the political future for these? Because, in Georgia, they vetoed it.
Right.
There are similar... Mississippi has something similar.
Yeah, I think Mississippi might be the only one.
Yeah.
At this point, a lot of people saw sort of the writing on the wall. Tennessee had one that died in committee that I think there was some effort to bring it back, but it basically had died. South Carolina, there was one, and it basically died as well. I just don't think that, I think in the same way that people saw the reaction to RFRA in Indiana.
Yes.
That, which to be fair to Governor McCrory, he said he opposed and didn't bring up a RFRA bill in the state of North Carolina because sort of his thing has not ever been, in his mind, social issues. Sort of the legislature in a lot of ways is forcing his hand on it. But people have largely backed off the bathroom situation because they're seeing what's happening in North Carolina and it's continuing. That's what's really fascinating is that because businesses have latched onto this and more just keep saying, canceling concerts or canceling contracts or whatever it is, that it's staying in the news and he can't get away from being asked about it.
Wow. What's the ideal sort of end result here? Let's say if you're the governor, right? Like how best is this going to play out, right? Is this going to be upheld, or I have a feeling he just wants it all to go away.
I think when the Obama administration got involved, there was a way that they could paint it as this is federal overreach. This is Washington getting involved in state law.
Yes.
So it gave him a better way to sort of continue to fight it because he was already starting to walk parts of it back. He went on a radio show a week ago basically saying this is really hurting me, this is affecting me politically. He had issued an executive order protecting LGBT state employees, which had never been done in the state before. He was already starting to try and do there's not a lot the governor can do. He's actually stripped of a lot of executive power.
Sure, yeah.
But he was already trying to walk it back. But then the Obama administration, which has made transgender sort of protections a huge effort in the last couple of months and continues to do so, that sort of gave him an out to keep defending and sort of dig into the position that he was already in.
Yeah.
But in some ways there's a benefit for some in the legislature to not make a deal because for them, especially if they're representing rural areas, this is their base. And there's again, it goes back to that urban-rural tension, and urban Republicans want to sort of see a solution to this, which, whether or not that's like parts of a repeal or if they work out something with the city of Charlotte.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't really know. I think he has an out now to blame it on the federal government if he so chooses. But he's now, he was already in one of, if not in my mind, the toughest governor's race in the country. And now...
This isn't going to help.
This is not going to help.
Yeah. All right. Elena Schneider is with us from Politico. We're going to take a very quick break. We got more stuff to talk about on the other side. My name is Peter Ogburn. Sitting in for Bill Press today. We will be right back.
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
"21. My father is run over by a car. He's passed out in the road with a blood alcohol content 4 times the legal limit. I do not cry. 4 months later, the nurses lose his pulse, and I wonder whose life flashed before his eyes. Rewinding VHS tapes, old home videos. 20. 19. I haven't brought a friend home in 4 years. 18. My mother sips the word divorce. Her mouth curls at the taste like it burns going down. 17. I start doing homework at Starbucks. I have more meaningful conversations with the barista than with my family. 16. I wait for Christmas Eve. My brother and I usually exchange gifts to one another early. This year, he and my father exchange blows. My mother doesn't go to Mass. 15, I come up with the theory that my father started drinking again because maybe he found out I'm gay. Like, if he could make everything else blurry, maybe somehow I'd look straight. 15. My mother cleans up his vomit in the middle of the night and cooks breakfast in the morning like she hasn't lost her appetite. 15. I blame myself. 15. My brother blames everyone else. 15. My mother blames the dog. 15. Super Bowl Sunday, my father bursts through the door like an avalanche, picking up speed and debris as he falls. Banisters, coffee tables, picture frames, tumbling, stumbling. I find his AA chip on the kitchen counter. 14. My father's been sober for 10, maybe 11 years. I just know we don't even think about it anymore. 13. 12. 11, Mom tells me Daddy's meetings are for AA. She asks if I know what that means. I don't. I nod anyway. 10. My parents never drink wine at family gatherings. All my other aunts and uncles do. I get distracted by the TV and forget to ask why. 9. 8. 7. 6. I want to be Spider-Man. Or my dad. They're kind of the same. 5. 4. 3. I have a nightmare. The recurring one about Ursula from The Little Mermaid. So I get up. I waddle toward Mommy and Daddy's room, blankie in hand. I pause. Daddy's standing in his underwear, silhouetted by a refrigerator light. He raises a bottle to his lips. 2. 1. 0. When my mother was pregnant with me, I wonder if she hoped, as so many mothers do, that her baby boy would grow up to be just like his father.
He's not running for president, but he will shake hands and kiss babies. It's the Bill Press Show, your progressive headquarters for the 2016 election.
Hi, everybody. 46 minutes past the hour. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. Jamie, you get enough donuts? You having some donuts?
No, I need more.
How many have you had? You had, like, what, 2?
No, I've had...
They're all yours, by the way.
I've had 1.5 so far.
Okay. I'm not going to have a donut.
Should have a donut. Your vacation starts today.
I'm not going to have one. What'd you say?
Your vacation starts today.
It's not really a vacation, though, is it?
We don't have
I'm
to
going out of town.
We don't have to get into the specifics, but
yeah.
You're off.
I'm going out of town.
That'll be nice.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be fine. I'm going to Charleston, South Carolina, my hometown. But
That'll be really nice.
Yeah,
You'll get to escape this rain.
A little bit, yeah, that's a good point. I could deal with that.
It'll be beautiful.
Elena Schneider joins us. She's a campaign reporter for Politico. You can follow her on Twitter at @EC_Schneider. That's SCHNEIDER. Just to be sure. Just to be sure. Just make everybody sure everybody knows. And read her good work at Politico.com, which is where I am now. I'm at Politico.com so that I could get the latest on the numbers from last night's primary. Bernie Sanders with another win.
Yep.
He has won 10 out of the last 15 primaries, and Hillary Clinton still can't put this thing away. Hillary Clinton had sort of taken all of her ad money out of the primary, and MSNBC is reporting that she's putting some back in, although we don't know exactly where she's going to use it.
In Kentucky, right?
Yeah, I guess it is Kentucky. Is she worried that she's not going to wrap this up?
Well, Gabe had a great story. Gabe DeBenedetti had a great story for us talking about how Robbie Mook set out a memo right during when the results were starting to come out saying that no matter what, Sanders has no path to victory. Yeah. And obviously trying to sort of make some donors feel a little bit better, calm everybody down. But I think Sanders is going to take this as far as he can because this is his only leverage. Yeah. This is his ability to shape the platform for the party and shape what Hillary talks about on the trail for the next 6 months. And I compared it to the Titanic at the end when Jack wouldn't let go. And that's what I imagine is happening right now.
I mean, I said earlier, I'm confident that Hillary Clinton will be the nominee. I just don't see how Bernie gets through. And you know, that's fine. People have spoken, people have voted. But at the same time, the primary calendar looking ahead is very friendly to Bernie Sanders. It's going to be a little while longer before she can actually sort of put this away. And if she has to spend time fighting Bernie, like, would her resources be better just like moving on to the general? I mean,
You'd have to ask them that. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
I think that ideally, they want to pivot as fast as possible, and
Right.
it's incredibly frustrating, I'm sure, to have, what was it, the 17 candidates on the Republican side that everyone, I'm sure in her team was sort of laughing at
Yeah.
a year ago, and
Yeah.
now she's the one who still has a primary, and
Yeah.
we have a clear nominee for the Republican Party, who's now able to pivot himself to the general election. Yeah, that's annoying. That creates a serious, I wouldn't say a serious problem for her, but the path has not been smooth.
Jamie, do you have that clip of Biden? Because Biden was on Good Morning America yesterday, and he had this to say about the primary.
I feel confident that Hillary will be the nominee, and I feel confident she'll be the next president.
I'm also confident that she will be the nominee. But, are we going to start seeing some more pressure from the White House and more sort of people coming out and trying to lift Hillary up a little bit?
Pressuring Sanders to get out?
Well, yes, I guess I should say. Not necessarily pressuring him to get out, but at the same time sort of elevating Hillary and sort of recognizing her as the nominee.
I think so. And they've already started to do some of that. I mean, clearly with Biden. But I would say, probably we'll see more of that.
Yeah.
But Sanders clearly has his death grip on this, but it makes sense. It just if he wants to shape what people are going to be talking about, this is how he's going to do it.
Bill always gets identified as a Bernie Sanders supporter. He is a Bernie Sanders supporter, but at the same time, what he says is, there's no reason for Bernie to get out, right? Just keep going. And he tells a story about when he was working with Jerry Brown the first time he ran for president. Jerry Brown took it all the way to the convention, and he went to the convention with 30 delegates. Bernie's got 1,400 now, I guess now. A little bit more than that if you factor in the 30 super delegates he has. But he took it all the way to the convention, got to the convention, endorsed, and that was it. And there was no arguing over whether or not he was hurting the candidate and all that stuff.
Well, to be fair, I don't think I was paying attention to politics when Jerry Brown was running for president.
Neither was I.
But that being said, I think this year, more than any other year, we've been paying attention to process. We've been talking about delegates. We've been talking about superdelegates, what all those things mean. And I think people are more cognizant of the struggle.
Yeah.
And maybe in years past, there hasn't been so much awareness broadly that, this is still an issue and that, usually somebody would get out at this point.
Yeah.
So I think that she can't really control the fact that the Republicans have created this, process election, and she's just sort of getting the short end of the stick on this one.
Yeah.
But again, it won't make a difference. It just means that it'll delay. Her pivot.
Exactly. Slow it down.
So.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump has pretty much got this all wrapped up, despite the fact that Ted Cruz yesterday, for whatever reason, was saying, if we can find a path, then we'll go. Do you have that clip? Let me hear that.
We've suspended the campaign because I can see no viable path to victory. Of course, if that changed, we would reconsider things. But let's be clear, we're not going to win Nebraska today. There should be no mystery, no excitement in that.
Yeah. No,
Don't you love politicians?
It's crazy. Especially him. Just give it up, dude. It's fine. He lost, but why are you coming back and sparking that fire?
Because he can't. I don't know.
Because he's a politician.
Yeah,
he's a politician.
Because there's still people walking around with Cruz stickers, I guess.
He got 9% in West Virginia, I guess. He only got beat by 67 points.
Yeah, exactly.
So
clearly,
Marco Rubio, in Marco Rubio's world, that's a win.
Yeah.
All right, 52 minutes past the hour. Elena Schneider, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having
Campaign
me.
reporter for Politico. Follow her on Twitter at EC_Schneider and read her work at Politico.com. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press. We'll be right back.
Your progressive headquarters for the 2016 election. This is The Bill Press Show.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine. Virginia Tech.
Tucson.
Aurora.
Fort Hood.
Oak Creek.
Newtown.
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 How many more? How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
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 Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad.
As a friend.
As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 A public service announcement.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today, just a couple minutes ago before the top of the hour. Thanks to Elena Schneider for joining us there. I'm eating my rice cake with a little smear of peanut butter because I've gone vegetarian for a little bit, which is a whole thing, right? Have you? Could you do that? Could you go? Have you ever gone vegetarian or vegan or anything like that?
1 week in high school.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You mean it a whole week?
Mm-hmm. I just ate salads every day. I didn't know what to eat.
Salads are delicious. I don't like the fake meat stuff, like the fake proteins, right? Which is like a friend of mine that works at the Humane Society was trying to get me like on board with that. Like, oh, they make delicious like soy-based chorizo now that you could put in like burritos and stuff. I'm just not going to eat that. I'm not going to eat that.
I finally come around to tofu, but I only...
Tofu is delicious, but I don't like meat replacement.
No, I get what you're saying. Like a tofurkey or a Chicks.
100% no.
Something, I don't know.
I'm a big time no on that. Because like my whole reason for doing this is, farmers markets are coming back. You got all these delicious vegetables now. So like I'm just eating mostly veggie things, but boy, oh boy, it's a struggle. By the way, there's a new dating site.
Tell me more.
I know. I knew you'd be here for this. There's a new dating site for Americans who are going to be fleeing the country because of Donald Trump being president.
Oh, that's stupid.
But they're pairing them with single Canadians. So if you're here in America and you're planning to move, it links you up with people in Canada who are single. It's called Maple Match. Which is pretty good. That's the best part of the whole story.
I've always wanted to date a Canadian.
Have you?
Yeah.
What an oddly specific kink,
They're
Jamie.
so nice, man.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. Maple Match. So if you're thinking about moving to Canada and you're worried about whether or not you will find love across the border.
And I'd have maple syrup for days.
Maple syrup for days. That's a big time bonus.
That's the key right there.
That's a big time bonus. All right. More politics with Nikki Schwab from the Daily Mail coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Calls me googly eyes.
You know you're beautiful, right? You know that?
Even you are beautiful. I got bullied for wearing glasses. Share if you're against bullying.
We put it out there, just took off. 3 million people have shared this post. Don't let bullies get you down. I stand with you. The whole family's wearing glasses. I wear glasses and I'm proud.
I even have the army on my team.
All the kind comments brought my child joy. I don't feel thank you is enough.
That's
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where the ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
I wanted to find a bank with a purpose. I wanted to find a place that would take my money and not use it to cause the financial crisis, but to fix the financial crisis and to help end income inequality.
The people that we employ are usually clients right off the streets. They don't have an account, but Amalgamated is willing to get that started for them.
Their reputation supporting the working man, I think, speaks for itself. This is a bank that cares for their customers, and I appreciate that.
We were able to access a construction loan through the bank's programs, and that loan has helped us house 28 families in the community.
Amalgamated is a bank that was started for and about working people.
Many of our customers have a deep commitment to advocating for social and economic justice. We share that commitment, and we're not afraid to stand up and say that we need to change some of the way that the country does business.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
The most important issue on this planet right now is to protect and conserve biodiversity in the world's oceans. And I don't think people realize just how intimate our connection is with the oceans themselves. Not only do they provide the very foundation of life and control our weather, but life just simply could not exist without a healthy ocean. The real problem, though, is apathy. It's all out of sight, it's all out of mind, and people don't even think about it. But it doesn't matter whether you live in Peoria or on the coast. The fact is, whatever happens in the ocean affects all life forms on the planet Earth. If the oceans die, then civilization collapses. We all die. We cannot live on this planet without the oceans. This is, in fact, not the planet Earth. It's the planet ocean, but because we're a land-dwelling species, we refer to it as Earth. But it is the planet ocean, and the oceans are the heart and the foundation of all life on the planet.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
To get in the way before it happens.
To get a friend home safe.
And to not blame the victim.
It's on us.
To look out for each other.
To
not look the other way.
It's on us to stand up.
To step in.
To take responsibility.
It's on us, all of us,
to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. Here we go, the final hour of today's broadcast, Wednesday, May 11th. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill Press today. Thank you all so very much for tuning in on either your favorite progressive talk radio station, on Free Speech TV, on DirecTV, or Dish Network. You can watch us on youtube.com/TawkrTV. We are everywhere. We're bad. We're nationwide. I'm joined by political reporter for the Daily Mail, Nikki Schwab.
Hello.
Nikki.
How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for coming in.
Of course.
I know you had a late night last night.
I did.
With
I
primary
did.
stuff.
Still Bernie and Hillary, still going at it. And Bernie, of course, had a West Coast rally, so it's like, what time are you going to start, Bernie? But what was interesting is that Bernie immediately claimed victory. He's like, I won West Virginia, and only one of the news networks had called it for him. So we're sort of waiting around. 2 hours later, because I usually watch CNN, CNN finally called it, and it was actually in the nick of time because then he spoke 20 minutes later.
Oh, wow.
But the whole point is that Hillary, I mean, you can always tell how they're going to do by when they're going to speak. Hillary was wrapped up, ready to get on a plane by the time the West Virginia polls closed because she knew that she was not going to win that state.
Yeah.
As soon as she was being yelled at by coal miners in Appalachia, she's like, I am out of here.
Yeah.
And so she very much did that. I mean, she was in Louisville, Kentucky last night. She wasn't even in West Virginia. And then obviously Bernie was, he always seems to go to the next place. So he was in Salem, Oregon.
Yeah.
And he was, giving his rah-rah victory speech. But
That's
it was
funny.
really kind of right after it was fully in the tank for Bernie.
It was quick. It was a 15-point win for Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
We're gonna dig into that a little bit with you. Joining us, of course, is Jamie Benson running the board. Hello, Jamie.
Good morning, Peter.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Screening your calls at 866-55-PRESS is Ray Rogers. She will take your calls. She'll screen you out. Only let the good ones through, by the way. So bring your A game if you're going to call in at 866-557-7377. And I mentioned all of the great places that you can watch the show. If you are watching the show, you are doing so because of the great work of one Cyprian Bolding, who is keeping us on camera. All right, Nikki, there's so much stuff that I want to talk about with you. Jamie, can we pull up that Cruz clip again? Because Ted Cruz yesterday, with one of the weirder sort of tangents of this election, went off into this weird world where he might restart his campaign again. Here's what he said.
We've suspended the campaign because I can see no viable path to victory. Of course, if that changed,
we would reconsider things. But let's be clear, we're not going to win Nebraska today. There should be no mystery, no excitement in that.
Yeah, he didn't win Nebraska.
No.
He didn't win West Virginia.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. He lost
did
by
not win.
67 points in West Virginia.
Well, Ted Cruz, he's always waiting in the wings, ready,
Yeah, right?
ready to be president. In case anyone needs him to be president, he's there for us. Country, we're ready.
He's just so weird. It's such a weird place to take this, right? Like, I'm out. That's what I'm out. I got beat. I'm out.
But it's a very strange thing because all of these guys have to, because they signed that pledge, they have to support Donald Trump because they said they would have to support the nominee. And it's funny because Trump's social media, this guy was trolling Mitt Romney with this clip where Mitt Romney was like, well, of course I'll support the nominee, but I just don't think it's going to be Donald Trump. And the social media dude for the Trump campaign was like, thank you for your support, Mitt Romney. And that's where Ted Cruz is. That's where Marco Rubio is. Like, none of them really want to back him.
Yeah.
But they have to because they literally, they signed this oath in blood and handed it over to Reince Priebus.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, it's a done deal.
I want to talk a little bit more about Marco Rubio here in just a couple of moments. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
All right, just a couple of other stories for you on this Wednesday morning. Hey, guys, how often do you pay attention to the trending stories on Facebook, on the right side of your Facebook?
I pay attention a decent amount to what trends on the Facebook.
Yeah, I totally watch it.
Yeah, I watch what happens.
Well, Republicans in the Senate have found something amiss with the stories on the right side of the screen on your Facebook homepage.
Yeah.
One in particular, Senator John Thune, a Republican from South Dakota, sent a letter to Facebook yesterday saying that basically he thinks Facebook's news curation is excluding conservative outlets.
I saw this. I don't know if I believe this, but go ahead.
It's an incredibly long letter. It's at least 6 questions with about 3 or 4 bullet points per question as to how they came up with this algorithm in the first place. Facebook did say that they will be looking into his questions on how trending topics work. Harry Reid, on the other hand, said, quote, the Republican Senate refuses to hold hearings on Garland, refuses to fund the president's request for Zika, and takes the most days off of any Senate since 1956, but think Facebook hearings are a matter of urgent national interest.
Yeah, good for Harry Reid. I mean, part of this, Facebook, what trends and what shows up is by, what people are sharing, right? So maybe the idea here would be, maybe they're just not sharing stuff from certain sites.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it depends on how many conservative friends you have, correct?
Yeah, right.
It's sort of within your network. I know that for me, I get a lot of Pittsburgh news because I'm from there.
Okay, sure. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Huh. Well, we'll see what happens, I guess.
Back to the sports desk here. Let's do another rundown of what happened last night in the NBA and NHL playoffs. We'll start with the San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Peter Spurs took an L last night in San Antonio, probably the most searing part of the loss.
Yes,
last
it is.
night.
Thank you. It is very searing. Thank you for pointing that out, Jamie Benson.
Final score was 95-91 Oklahoma City. Russell Westbrook had 35 points. On the hockey side, the Pittsburgh Penguins are advancing.
Oh, boy. Oh,
there you go.
Man.
Sorry.
Nikki's the fan.
Ooh.
I watch the Caps, too.
I don't care much about the Cap. I mean, but like I said this earlier, the Capitals are a terrible hockey team. They're terrible. Mm-hmm. You've got to be able to win some playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
Full stop.
Final score 4-3 Penguins over the Capitals. It was an overtime goal that propelled the Penguins to a 4-2 series victory.
Look at Nikki smiling.
I know, I'm sorry. I can't help it. I grew up as a Penguins fan.
That's fair.
And finally, the big news in Washington, D.C. yesterday was that the record-nominated Broadway show,
oh boy,
Hamilton, is coming to the Kennedy Center. That's right. As part of the national tour 2017-2018, Hamilton will be coming to the Kennedy Center. No specific show dates yet. If you want tickets, well, you're going to have to shell out a lot of money ahead of time. You're going to have to get a 2016-17 season pass.
You can buy a season pass.
And a 2017-2018 season pass.
Yes, you're going to buy 2 years worth of season passes to the Kennedy Center just to see this musical. I'm going to tell you something. I read this story yesterday, and I go, first of all, there's no way I'm going to go. But I read this story, and I go, all right, you know what? I'm going to go and listen to this Hamilton, some of this music. I'll tell you something. It is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Oh.
It's terrible.
It's a long soundtrack, too.
I didn't listen to the whole thing, I promise you that. It is so stupid. Do you like Hamilton? Do you like
I have actually never heard any of the music.
Okay, all right.
I love musicals, and
it's
I
awful.
No,
It's
I shouldn't go
stupid.
to New York and like.
I mean, if you feel like going to pay like $9,000 to go see the show, some mediocre hip hop rap about history.
If you do,
Yawnsville.
The subscriptions will be available
It
for
sounds like
purchase
it's Schoolhouse Rocks.
next Wednesday.
It's exactly like Schoolhouse Rocks. Nikki, you finally hit it. You finally
Bill
hit the
becomes
nail on the head.
alive.
You
Yeah.
finally hit the nail on the head of why I hate Hamilton. It's like a
Do you
bunch
have, like
of
flashbacks.
Yeah,
from,
well,
like, elementary
it's like
school?
a bunch of middle schoolers are like, oh, we're gonna do a thing about Hamilton, but it's gonna be hip hop, and it's so stupid. I hate it. And we all gotta talk about how great he is, though.
Won the Pulitzer.
Yeah, I know. He's gonna win everything because people are dumb, and they like dumb things.
He's got a good story.
I mean, he now Hamilton is like gonna stay on the bill on the 10.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm sure
And, which is a good thing. Just like the guy on the 20, Andrew
Hamilton's
Jackson
great.
was way worse.
Yeah, totally. No, Hamilton's great.
Like he should be booted for Harriet Tubman.
Hamilton the man is great. Yeah, I agree with you on all of those points. But just get out of here with all this Hamilton musical hype. Oh boy, is it too much? It's too much. What are you a Hamilton defender in there? You look
Hamiltonian. What
are you
are
a
they?
Hamiltonian?
Absolutely not. I remember reading about Lin-Manuel Miranda a long time ago. I'm not saying I was first. I still haven't seen the musical, but he seems like a really cool guy.
He does seem like a cool guy.
He seems like a dork.
Did you see him freestyle with President Obama on the steps of the White House?
Yeah, it was stupid.
Oh, come on.
And Emma Watson.
I gotta watch this guy.
You gotta love Emma Watson.
Rap about
he
government.
He rapped about feminism.
That's
not easy.
I'm not saying it's easy.
Can you rap about feminism?
I can't rap about feminism.
I don't think
You're
I
right.
can also rap about feminism. But
I'm not saying the guy's not talented. I just think that he's channeling his talent in a stupid direction. It's not good. It's not good.
You're full of a lot of hate this morning.
I'm a little angry.
your Twitter's gonna blow up. It's
That's fine. That's fine.
All the
I can take that.
Hamiltonians.
The Hamiltonians, the Hamilton army will come out to get me. Okay, Nikki, let's switch back to what we were talking to because Marco Rubio was sort of back in the news yesterday, someone you've covered, and the Trump campaign sort of put out word that Marco Rubio was lobbying to be his vice president. We have that clip. Let's
We have a reaction
Yeah,
from
let's hear some of the
Rubio
reaction
on
from Marco
CNN
Rubio.
about whether or not he'd be Trump's VP.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that anyone's offered it to me or has been suggested to me. I'm just saying to you that I believe he would be best served by someone who more fully embraces the things he stands for, and that's certainly not me.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Is he out?
Oh, he's definitely out.
Yeah, right.
But it was interesting because, he put out this Facebook message being like, not interested in being your vice president. And so the Trump people were like, well, actually, people from Team Marco have been trying to get him on the ticket to like make him look bad.
Yeah.
And then he gets on Jake Tapper's show and he's like, who are my advisors? I don't have a campaign
Right,
anymore.
yeah, that's a good point.
Did they talk to my wife? Like, what's happening? So it was really funny. That whole interview was really interesting because Rubio, you could tell, same thing like Cruz, he signed this blood oath.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, maybe I can be helpful on some of the down ticket races. Like, I'll go help Pat Toomey in Pennsylvania. Like, that's how I'll uphold my oath. But he literally, it was so funny because Tapper's like, well, will you vote for Donald Trump? And he's like, I will support the Republican nominee. It's robotic. I will support the Republican nominee. But then he's like, well, I'm not going to vote for Hillary Clinton. I guess I should, the oath goes all the way through to the voting booth, But he wouldn't actually, you could tell that it, pained him to say the words Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, it's not going to come out of his mouth in, a friendly fashion.
Look, what I think is so funny is the guys who had, a real shot to beat Trump are the ones who hate him the most, right?
Jeb
Rubio, maybe even Ted Cruz.
Yeah,
maybe.
he
they started out
was the
really,
last one standing.
Yeah,
so.
But they were real, buddy during the campaign until it came down to the last two of them, until it got really ugly. But I don't know that they're ever going to come around on Trump.
No, and I think Rubio was the little kid in the Senate who was whispered in his ear for years, you are the future of the Republican Party. You're next in line. I remember as early as like 2008, 2009, the sort of the Tea Party wing of the Republican Party was pointing to Rubio as sort of the next great hope.
Yeah.
Their own Obama, and then he came to the Senate and sort of shook off the Tea Party from him, became more establishment, and then he didn't really have a base.
Right.
And that was his problem, is that he sort of mainstreamed himself, which I think is smart if he wanted to have a longer Senate career, but he didn't.
Yeah.
He was only going to stay in there for one term so he could, launch it to the White House. And so now he's in a really strange position because he's already said he's not going to run for governor in Florida in 2018. He said last night he said he was not going to be a lobbyist. Like, what is he going to do for money now? Like,
yeah.
I mean, he literally is, he's wrapped up his Senate career in January, and then he said he's just going to, go back into Florida and hang out?
Right.
Which is not a bad plan.
Yeah, I mean, as far as plans go, that's a pretty good
I've
one.
been to Miami. It's fantastic. I mean, go have some mojitos and hang out. But it's interesting because he was really considered sort of the future of the Republican Party, and now he's going to be a nothing.
While we're talking about who's supporting Donald Trump and who isn't, Paul Ryan made some waves last week, I guess, where he said that he's not ready to support Donald Trump yet.
Yeah.
Is he going to come around on that?
I think he has to.
Yeah, right.
I think that the whole sort of charade of this meeting tomorrow is going to have to be the two of them, breaking bread and then coming out and singing Kumbaya.
Yeah.
I mean, because if they look like there's still sort of dysfunction between these two parts of the Republican Party, I don't really know how you go forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or at least they're going to come out and say, we've had a great opening discussion.
Right. Like maybe.
We've talked through some things. There's still some areas where we have our differences, but we can work on like these issues.
So let me just say this. I think that Donald Trump is bigger than Paul Ryan. He's bigger than the Republican Party. He doesn't need Paul Ryan's support, frankly. All that being said, he's going to get it.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to get it. None of these guys are really, truly going to, like...
These guys care about their jobs too much.
Right, exactly.
To continually be a thorn in Donald Trump's side.
But I think Donald Trump had the exact right response when Paul Ryan says, I'm not sure if I can support him as the nominee. Donald Trump said, well, I'm not sure if I can support him as Speaker of the House, which, like, is pretty... That's pretty epic in terms of like where we are with politics. Like, the nominee for the Republican Party is telling the Speaker of the House, you might not have a job, dude.
And here's Paul Ryan, another one of these guys who's being, whispered at, like, you are the future of the Republican Party.
Yeah.
And Trump's like,
who cares?
I don't care.
Yeah. He's beating them all up, and he's not really even trying that hard.
Somebody had this great quote last night where they were saying literally, like, the Republican Party is the tuxedo that Donald Trump is going to wear until he wins the White House. And I have no idea who said it, but it stuck in my head. I was like, that's brilliant, but it's so true. Like, he just sort of, put on the Republican Party and off he goes, and he doesn't need them.
He doesn't need it. He doesn't.
And actually,
that's a
I think
really good
the
point.
more
well
that he sort of, sticks his nose up at these, quote, establishment types, the more voters who love Donald Trump will vote for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
The more that they're in the tank for him.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Nikki Schwab is with us. She is a political reporter for the Daily Mail. You can follow her on Twitter at Nikki Schwab. That's Nikki with two Ks. Schwab, SCHWAB. Follow her on Twitter. We're going to take a very quick break. We'll be right back.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
This is the story of my grandfather. When I was 19 years old, his right hand was crushed in a printing press. He was supposed to lose the hand, but a young doctor saved it just in time for the war. This is the story of the war. My grandfather repaired tanks. Behind the front lines, away from the cameras, he would pull pieces of dead men from the machines and send the machines back out to the field. This is the story of the war a decade later. Back then, you didn't talk about depression. There was no such thing as PTSD. When my uncle, age 7, asked him who won the war, my grandfather said, nobody. This is the story of my grandfather, the machinist. I have a newspaper from 1981, a story about the Nobel Prize for Physics, a photograph of the winner, a Harvard man standing by his machines. This man is not my grandfather, Beneath the photo, my grandfather has written, "I designed and built almost everything in this picture." They worked together for 10 years, but my grandmother says the physicist never even remembered his name. If you asked that Harvard man, there would be no story of my grandfather, just a pair of disembodied hands. This is the problem with stories. They have to leave something out. The editor cuts a line and someone's face fades. The editor says 200 words or less and suddenly a whole family goes missing. The spotlight isn't about the light, it's how it makes everything around it dark. My grandfather's face is erased from every story. The machines survive, but the man who made them doesn't. The machines make the photo, but their maker is out of frame. But we choose where to point the camera. We can choose how to tell the story. We can choose which clothing the hero wears. I could tell you this is a story about a soldier, or I could tell you this is a story about the blue-collar man, but really, this is just the story of my grandfather. I did not know him. I was born too late, but my family tells me his name. Alfred Franzosa. I know that name might only live in this moment, that there are other stories with greater stakes, but still, I will tell you his name. I will repair this old machine. I will let my grandfather live again because I could not know him while he was living. Once, when he was younger than I am now, his right hand was crushed by a printing press, crushed by other people's stories. When it healed, he began to build. He used his hands to build tanks and his hands to build cradles. His hands were the last thing to touch dead soldiers and the first to touch his newborn sons. He built a good family, and that family built me, and now I use my hands to build his story. The story is not a eulogy. A eulogy seals the casket. A eulogy lets no air out. This story is a resurrection. Jesus was not resurrected by God. He was brought back by the people who told his stories. It does not take a miracle to raise the dead, to leave behind the tombstone and take the name with you.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show, 26 minutes past the hour. Not a lot of time left with Nikki Schwab in studio, but we value every moment you've given us today. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Good to hear.
We talked about the Republicans a lot to start off the hour. Let's talk about the Democrats. Another win for Bernie Sanders last night.
Another win for Bernie Sanders.
10 out of the last 15 primaries. He has won.
Yes. Unfortunately, I still don't think it really changes the delegate math because of the way that the Democrats do proportional representation of their delegates.
Yeah.
And so it kind of sucks because every time Bernie gets a win, and it's so funny because literally like it's it's completely sort of opposite of 2008. Like the same thing happened with Hillary in 2008, where she's like winning at the end, but Obama had amassed so many delegates early on that she could never quite get over sort of over his lead in pledged delegates.
I mean, if you look at the pledged delegates and the superdelegates situation, right? If you take the superdelegates away, this race is really down to like about 200 delegates.
Yeah, but the problem is that every time you have another race, like think about it, like you're literally just splitting that delegate pool 50-50.
Yeah, yes.
And it's all on the margins.
Last night,
it's 4 delegates, I believe, is what he got with that. Actually, I think that was early.
Yeah, that was so like last night he won by 15 points, and I think he got 17 delegates. She got 17 delegates.
17 to 17?
Yeah, they tied on their delegates. Even though she got beat by 15
yeah,
points.
I was looking at
because we're talking about, I'm talking about super delegates.
Oh yeah, don't. But I think, I mean, I think the thing is, and I was looking at a lot of tweets from the Bernie folks last night, And I think that, there's sort of this whole like conspiratorial air around the superdelegates. We shouldn't really even be talking about the superdelegates.
I know.
Because the thing is that, like, yes, like people have sort of endorsed early, but they're not really they're not voting for Bernie nor Hillary at this point.
Right.
Like they're just kind of sitting over here in a puddle, and then once the races are over, they'll vote with whoever has the most pledged delegates.
Good stuff from Nikki Schwab, political reporter for the Daily Mail. Thanks for coming in, Nikki.
Thanks for having me.
See you soon.
This is the Bill Press Show.
The most important issue on this planet right now is to protect and conserve biodiversity in the world's oceans. And I don't think people realize just how intimate our connection is with the oceans themselves. Not only do they provide the very foundation of life and control our weather, but life just simply could not exist without a healthy ocean. The real problem, though, is apathy. It's all out of sight. It's all out of mind, and people don't even think about it. But it doesn't matter whether you live in Peoria or on the coast. The fact is, whatever happens in the ocean affects all life forms on the planet Earth. If the oceans die, then civilization collapses. We all die. We cannot live on this planet without the oceans. This is, in fact, not the planet Earth. It's the planet ocean, but because we're a land-dwelling species, we refer to it as Earth. But it is the planet ocean, and the oceans are the heart and the foundation of all life on the planet.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek, Newtown,
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more? How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough. 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 Enough.
Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad, as a friend, as a husband,
As a wife.
as an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook. Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
Yes, it is the Bill Press Show. 33 minutes past the hour. Peter Ogburn sitting in for Bill Press today, ably assisted by the Donut Shark, Jamie Benson. What say, Jamie?
I don't answer to that.
No.
It's a derogatory term.
You're a lover of donuts. You'll get them any way you can, including lying to your boss about why you're getting donuts.
We've been over this. I wanted the coffee. The donuts are just on top.
Hang on. I was going to move on, but I just have to say, it's so funny that why did you get the donuts again? You're like, oh, I was just doing Ray a favor so she wouldn't feel so bad about going to get me coffee.
That's not the way I put it.
That's how you put it earlier.
I put it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I said I couldn't justify Ray going to get just a coffee. I wanted to have the donuts in case our guests wanted any donuts.
All right, that's fair.
In addition to me.
That's a little bit different. That's fair. Hey, so tomorrow is going to be a big, big day here in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump will sit down and meet with Paul Ryan, who is not ready to endorse Donald Trump. That's just what Paul Ryan said when he was asked about it. I say it's going to be interesting. It's really not going to be that interesting. It's going to be pretty easy. What's going to happen is Donald Trump and Paul Ryan are going to sit down. They're going to have a chat. Paul Ryan's going to walk out, say we found a lot of common ground, and he's ready to support Donald Trump as the nominee. That's what's going to happen, all right? That's exactly what's going to happen. Stephen Colbert, by the way, had a whole great piece about, how Paul Ryan should handle this.
Paul, it's me, Steve. I know you're under a lot of pressure right now to endorse Trump, and I just want to say it's okay to take it slow. Just because all the cool people like Ben Carson are doing it doesn't mean you have to. You want the first time you endorse Donald Trump to be special. I mean, look at Chris Christie. He rushed right in to endorse, and now everywhere he goes is a walk of shame. But don't worry, Paul. When you decide the time is finally right for you to endorse Trump, it'll only last a minute. Just shut your eyes and think of Reagan.
Oh, my God. Jesus. But, Colbert has a point. Paul Ryan is just, there's no way that Paul Ryan, the current Speaker of the House, is going to finagle his way out of endorsing Donald Trump. It just will not happen. Paul Ryan will come around and will make it happen. You listen to the words of Mitch McConnell, who got right in line to talk about Donald Trump.
Most of my members believe that he's won the nomination the old-fashioned way. He got more votes than anybody else.
And Mitch McConnell goes on.
A long time till November, but the early indications are that our nominee is likely to be very competitive.
Yeah. So, he did come out right off the bat and say, he's the nominee, I support him, right? And the people are now trying to paint this as he's not exactly on board with the Trump train. That's not true. He came out right off the bat and endorsed Donald Trump, said he would vote for him. And so that is the struggle that you're going to see Republicans go through in the next couple of days. They're going to be trying to figure out and fight about who is willing to put their name on a Donald Trump candidacy. And I think Paul Ryan will end up there. Quite easily, by the way. I think it'll be pretty easy. One of the things that I have sort of taken away from this is that Donald Trump doesn't need the Republican Party. He doesn't need Paul Ryan. He doesn't need John Boehner, who's no longer in the Republican or no longer in leadership. He doesn't need John Boehner. He doesn't need Mitt Romney. He doesn't need the Bush's George. He doesn't need the Bush Jeb. He just needs his people.
Last week when we started getting those announcements from the Bushes, Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham.
Well, not John McCain. John McCain's still sort of waffling here, saying they're not going to go to the convention.
Yeah.
You didn't see a bunch of people say, oh, no, we're going to miss these Republican stalwarts. They're not going to be there in Cleveland to support the nominee.
No.
It's a lot of celebration on Twitter.
No, that is the difference. That's the difference between where we are now and where we were 4 years ago, right? Donald Trump has completely changed the Republican Party, if not killed it, by the way. Nobody cares that Lindsey Graham and Mitt Romney are not going to be there. They just don't. They just don't. And Donald Trump will fill the convention filled with people Ben Carson, Hulk Hogan, random weird people to show up and give speeches. That's what's going to happen. And you know what? People are going to effing love it. That's what's going to happen. So while a lot of these guys might not be willing to put their name on Donald Trump 100%, a lot of them are going to support him. And that's just going to that's how it's going to go.
Is there anyone we're missing? Republicans that have not come out that we should have expected to by now? We had Bob Dole come out saying he would support Trump. We look back at the yesteryears, right?
Yeah. I don't think so.
No,
right?
I think we've cycled through every Republican who potentially could be helpful in supporting Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the story of what's going to happen with these Trump meetings. So we shall see. Meanwhile, on the Democratic side, another loss for Hillary Clinton last night in West Virginia. Bernie Sanders came out. Jamie, I think we have some audio from Bernie last night where he talks about all the states that he has won.
We have now won primaries and caucuses in 19 states.
And he goes on to talk about where Hillary was in 2008 compared to...
This is a state, West Virginia, where Hillary Clinton won by over 40 points against Barack Obama in 2008.
By the way, I want to mention off that first clip, Reince Priebus, RNC chairman, got his math wrong yesterday, tweeting. Bernie said that he's won 19 states. Reince Priebus tweeting yesterday, "It is nothing short of embarrassing that Hillary Clinton has now been defeated 20 times by a 74-year-old socialist from Vermont." As if that burn was not horrible enough.
Yeah.
He got it wrong.
Let me tell you how bad that burn was. For Reince Priebus to start throwing rocks inside the glass house that is the Republican Party right now, he must have a hell of an insurance plan. Because, that party is on fire right now. That party is as irrelevant as a political party. It is as irrelevant as it has ever been. But yeah, Hillary's got the problem. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number, 866-557-7377. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill Press today. Would love to hear from you about several different issues. Will the Republicans line up to support Donald Trump? And if they do, how do Democrats beat that? And why can't Hillary Clinton put this primary away? That's my question to you. Our phone number is 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. Very quick break. We'll be right back.
Your place to talk about the 2016 election. This is the Bill Press Show.
It occurred to me tonight, for the first time, that the long-winged insect that over and over again rams its body into the wood of my front door might not know what he's doing. He might not have a plan. Maybe that's just how he flies, and that is where the door is. And I remember you. The last time I saw you, a few weeks before we would graduate from high school, and a few days before you let a bullet dissolve on your tongue, dancing in a warehouse rave, sweat-drenched and strobe light battered, thrashing your arms back and thrusting them forward. The floor could get so bright and loud, we all slowed down to be more careful, but you kept dancing full sprint tornado, and sometimes you'd spin full weight into a wall and just spread your arms against it and sway back and forth like a lover reunited. This long-winged insect is not trying to get into the house. It doesn't know there is a house. Can't imagine a life beyond that door. All it can see is the light. You and I were both 17 when you died. And ever since then, I have envied you. How you are remembered for towering, unclaimed potential instead of living to look regret in the face. You didn't have to come home 3 weeks later and explain to your little brother why you took too much medicine. Your addiction is remembered as a tragedy, not a betrayal. Your suicide attempt became a suicide, not an unpaid hospital bill. And only tonight did it occur to me that maybe that night when you let your teeth touch metal, you might not have known what you were doing. You might not have had a plan. Maybe you had hit that door so many times you couldn't imagine it might let you through. I'm still ashamed to admit it, but I have always secretly believed you did it for me, that you wanted to show me that there is a way out of all of this. Not so that I would follow you, but so I would understand that every day that I am alive is a day that I choose to be alive. And when the music stops, you still get to keep on dancing. And when the light is so bright it blinds, you can dance with your eyes closed. And if in that dark you come up against a wall, you keep your arms out wide and you dance with the wall.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. I am not Bill Press. I am Peter Ogburn. I am sitting in for Bill Press today. 45 minutes past the hour, everybody. Let me take some of your calls at 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. Let's go to Ryan in Chicago. Hey, Ryan, what's happening?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man.
Love you. Love your show.
Thanks, dude.
Hey, no problem. Basically, I've been calling a couple of days because, I watch the news when I get home from work, and I watch CNN primarily because, I don't take MSNBC or nothing like that. And all I ever hear is that Clinton's won. I'd like to hear your thoughts on why Bernie Sanders, all of his victories and all of his supporters are being ignored on TV like they are.
Well, there's no denying the fact that Bernie has an uphill battle, right? Like that's just the math. That is just the math. And so, like the TVs and the networks are trying to be realistic, but at the same time, Ryan, I also think that the TV stations, the cable news, they are just jumping the gun a little bit. They are ready to move. This is what TV news does, right? They move too fast. You don't get a fully nuanced conversation about what's really going on. So they are flying through the news cycle because it's good for them, right? News stories means, people keep paying attention. They pay attention for longer. So the narrative has already been written that Hillary Clinton is the presumptive nominee. She hasn't put it away yet. She doesn't have the delegates, but the news media is ready to move on to Hillary versus Trump because that's what's sexier to them.
They have so much fun with it.
They do. And they're going to have a field day with Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump because it's going to be the nastiest thing we've ever seen. It will be.
You remember Celebrity Deathmatch on MTV?
Yeah.
With the claymation?
With referee Miles, what was that guy's name?
That's literally what we're going to look at.
Yeah, it's going to be a Celebrity Deathmatch. It's going to be them just beating tarnation out of each other. And the news media knows that, and they're ready for it. That's part of the reason, I think, Ryan, it's a good call, why they're ignoring the Bernie wins. And, even if you see the coverage of Bernie's win in West Virginia last night, it's Bernie Sanders wins another primary, ... Still not enough to catch Hillary Clinton, which is the narrative. And that's just where we are at. Pat in Whitewater, Wisconsin. Hello, Pat.
Yeah, I just don't see why it matters that these Republicans aren't falling behind Donald Trump. People voted for Trump because they didn't like those guys. So I don't think anybody who is voting for Trump really cares what these guys think. And then my second point is, who in the world is going to be his vice president? I think Trump is viable for these, I don't know what you'd call these Walmart Republicans.
Yeah.
But I don't think they can get a vice presidential nominee that will even seem high school educated.
Did you see who's leading the search for a vice president? You're just in charge with the Vice Presidential Search Committee?
No, I did not.
Ben Carson.
Well, he will probably discover himself.
I know. This is a trend, by the way. No, this is what Dick Cheney did. George W. Bush hired Dick Cheney to go and find him a vice president, and Cheney came back and said, we've evaluated these candidates, and I believe I am the best one. And Bush got him. He did the same thing with Harriet Miers when he was looking for a Supreme Court justice. He asked Harriet Miers to lead up the search. Harriet Miers came back and goes, yeah, I'm the best one. And she didn't even get confirmed. So your point, getting to your point, Pat, of what does it matter if Republicans support Donald Trump? In the grand scheme of things, right, it really matters whether or not Donald Trump is going to get actual Republicans to vote for him, because the people who have voted for him throughout this primary, I don't necessarily think I would categorize them as pure-blooded Republicans, right? You get a lot of Republicans, but there are a lot of people who are just not political, and they are jumping into jumping into politics for the first time. And so these people are great, and they're fine, and they'll bring him some votes, but to really win an election, Donald Trump is going to have to get some support from Republicans.
But it's not so much that it matters now. It matters more so for the future of the party.
That's a very good point. Look, this party is completely falling apart. It's kind of great to watch because, for as long as I've been around, it's been a two-party system. The closest we ever got was when Ross Perot ran. Ross Perot got 20% of the vote. You're never gonna, and which everybody was like, oh, this is impressive. Oh, it's so much. 20%. Think about that. This could take you nowhere.
Gary Johnson, 2016, baby.
There you go. Here comes Gary Johnson. So, you're right. It does matter, how the Republican Party bounces back from Trump, assuming he doesn't win the general election. I mean, I don't see how I don't see how he wins, but it is possible. I mean, it's a 50-50 foot race right at this point. So, will the Republican Party come back? Will they be able to recover from this? It's a good question. I don't know. And I don't know who leads it. Paul Ryan thinks he's the one to do it, but he's certainly not showing a lot of leadership right now with this whole Trump thing. So lots more calls at 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. Take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Follow us on Twitter at BP Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
A letter to the girl I used to be. Dear Emily, every time I watch baseball, a voice I no longer recognize whispers, Ethan, do you remember? When you were going to be the first girl to play in the Major League Seattle Mariners rally cap. But to be honest, Emily, I don't. Dad told me that like it was someone else's bedtime story. But I do know you had that drive. Didn't let anyone tell you to wear shorts above your knees. Didn't care if boys thought your hair fell on your shoulders just right, but with girls, sleepovers meant the space between your shoulder and hers was a 6-inch fatal territory. The year you turned 11 was the first time you said out loud that you didn't want to live anymore. In therapy, you said you wouldn't make it to 21. On my 21st birthday, I thought about you. You were right. At 19, you started to fade. I tried to cross you out like a line in my memoir I wished I could erase completely. And maybe I'm misunderstanding the definition of death, but even though parts of you still exist, you are not here. Most of my friends have never heard your name until now. I've been trying to write this letter for 6 months. I still can't decide if it should be an apology or not. But now you will never hear Emily Smith announced at a college graduation. Get married. Give birth. When the prescribed testosterone started taking effect, my body stopped producing the potential for new life every month. I thought about your children, how I wanted them too. Now, I let a doctor remove your breasts so that I could stand up straighter. Now, even if I somehow had those children, I wouldn't be able to nourish them. My body is obsolete, scarred cosmetic, but never C-section. I was 4 days late. They will never be grandparents. I was 1 week late. They will never hold their lover's sleeping figure. I was 11 days late. They will never breathe in a sunset and a sunrise in the same night. I was 2 weeks late. They will never learn to jump rope. I was 3 weeks late. They will never shout, "Watch, Mommy, watch me on the slide." I was 2 months late. A piece of us will never wrap their arms around our leg for comfort, but just to keep them from falling down. And I am sorry that this process is so slow, and all you can do is wonder if you ever had a place. You did. You still do. Don't forget that. Yours, Ethan. P.S. I never hated you.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Yes, it is the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn in for Bill Press today. I'm going to read this. This is so great. This is the lead from Jonathan Chait's piece in New York Magazine about Donald Trump and his success. This is so good. Quoting him, why did almost everybody fail to protect Donald Trump's victory in the Republican primaries? Nate Silver blames the news media, disorganized Republican elites, and the surprising appeal of cultural grievance. Nate Cohn lists a number of factors from the unusually large candidate field to the good old-fashioned or to the friendly calendar. Jim Rutenberg thinks journalism strayed too far from good old-fashioned shoe leather reporting. Justin Wolfer zeroes in on Condorcet's paradox. Here's the factor I think everybody missed. The Republican Party turns out to be filled with idiots, far more of them than anyone expected. And that might just summarize why Donald Trump is the Republican.
Well, we can go home.
I think that's it. And that's what I've been saying for a long time. Everyone talks about Donald Trump hijacked the Republican Party. Donald Trump took the reins from the Republicans and is making it his own. No, he is not. He is holding a mirror up to the Republican Party. They just haven't run anyone this extreme before. Who's the second extreme person in the race this time around? Probably Ted Cruz. He finished second, right? So, this is not a matter of, Donald Trump sullying the good name of the even-headed and thoughtful Republican Party. This is Republicans are idiots. And they're voting for Donald Trump because he best represents what they think and what they feel. That is a pretty good summary of what we're looking at. Jamie, what do you have for me? You got something for me in there?
Well, Peter, it's your Friday today. Yep. You know, for everybody else, we're only halfway through the week. So I thought I'd ask if you have any favorite stories of the week. I've got mine, but if
give me yours.
Okay.
Give me yours.
All right. So this was actually from late last week. We hadn't gotten around to reading this for full court today, but a Eugene pet store, Eugene, Oregon, I should say. Police get a call saying that there's been a robbery at the Zany Zoo pet store in West Eugene.
The Zany Zoo.
A laptop computer, Girl Scout cookie money, and a Galago primate named Gooey, a primate.
Whoa, what? They have primates
it's
at
an
this?
exotic pet store.
Oh, dear.
They were
this is a
reported
bad story.
stolen from the store. The investigation actually turned out that the owner of the store, Nathan Allen McLean, paid a prostitute from out of town with money from his store, which included the Girl Scout cookie cash, and then tipped the prostitute with the primates.
What?
Favorite story of the year so far, maybe.
That's pretty low. If you've got to pay a prostitute with a monkey, What is going on? Oh boy, stealing the Girl Scout money too is just evil.
Petty.
It's exactly what it is. Petty. All right, folks, that wraps up another broadcast here from the Media Syndication Services recording studio and media spa. My name is Peter Ogburn. I sat in for Bill Press today. Bill will be back. He will be back. He was up in New York today recapping the primaries. I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say about the West Virginia primaries tomorrow, among other things. So make sure you tune in tomorrow when Bill Press is back. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you later on.
This is the Bill Press Show.